To National Taco Day. Happy Hump Day from the opening drive on 101 ESPN, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Glad you're with us. You can also join us on the Air Alliance Team Studio Cams. Just go to the YouTube and type in 101 ESPN STL, and you can watch Brooke and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis and Randy Carricker and Matthew Rocchio. And it's great to have you with us. How are we doing, kids?
Good. Why is today National Taco Day?
I think it's
not
an
Taco
October 4th
Tuesday.
thing. I know it should be. It should be like the first Tuesday of every October, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't know.
That and we should have Halloween should be the last Saturday. I'm convinced of that. It should not be on the 31st because it could be on a Tuesday. Kids got to go to school. It's Saturday. Make it a Saturday. Kids don't have to go to school the next day. They don't have to rush home from school to get prepared and all of that nonsense. Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? How about Independence Day being on the first Monday of July every year, rather than the 4th of July, us gambling and having the 4th of July on a Saturday?
Well, you know, I kind of like the break in the middle, Randy.
But it wasn't a break for us. You get the 4th off?
We got the 3rd and the 4th off this year.
We did, yeah.
But was it on a Wednesday?
It was on a Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, that was good.
So we got Tuesday and Wednesday off.
Okay.
And, you know.
You like the extra days. Okay.
Yeah, I like a break in the middle, Randy. If I just out of nowhere, no work, just sign me up. Good deal.
We've got quite a program coming up for you. We're going to talk to Jaime Rivers coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. A lot of Blues talk today. Also, we're going to talk about the playoffs. The playoffs were interesting yesterday. Great job, by the way. Good start for the Cardinals.
Yes,
Jordan Montgomery goes 7 strong innings. Cabrera and Hicks were great out of the pen.
Pham was okay.
Tommy Pham, Adolis Garcia had a couple of hits.
It was exciting to see those guys just performing at a high level.
It was great.
What's wrong?
Brooke,
Some bad news. They don't play for the Cardinals. Those guys that you just listed. They don't play for them anymore. The Cardinals were done, eliminated.
But I saw a lot of Cardinal players playing. The uniforms looked a little odd, but they're still Cardinals, right?
I know that some people are saying Red October for the Phillies, but I guess they just took that from the Cardinals. They're just carrying on the tradition. I don't know.
Disappointed.
So excited, Randy.
Dang it.
Jordan Montgomery did look really good.
Did you see
7 innings?
Was it who sent that he needed to be with Maddox. So you'll love this quote. This is beautiful stuff here. This is Jordan Montgomery to I think the New York Post. Yeah, I'm sure the Yankees saw the potential. They might have given up on me, but I think it was the best thing for me to get to the Cardinals and get set up with Mike Maddox. Our pitching philosophies are much closer. And so he goes to Texas, and he turns in 7 shutout innings.
Very nice.
In his playoff game, after pitching exceptionally well for them during the regular season.
How about that?
So he's just following Maddox everywhere?
Yeah, why not? He might resign there. I could see that. Because they aren't going to have DeGrom, I don't think, next year, right? And Scherzer hopefully will be back for them. And they don't mind spending money. They seem like they're all in. If they don't win the World Series this year, bring back Monty, who wants to be there.
You don't think he wants to come back to St. Louis?
Well, I think he wants to go where the money is. I don't know if that ship has sailed. I think that he'll, because his agent is Scott Boras, go where the money is.
You know what I saw yesterday? Some really good pitching. Tyler Glasnow had a good start. Had some rough fielding behind. I mean, really rough fielding behind him.
Would you like him? He'll be available after this season.
I will, Randy. You don't have to pull my arm too hard.
He never pitches, but when he does, he's great.
He's never pitches.
You don't have to tug too hard at my arm. Zach Wheeler performed really well.
He would be nice to have.
You talked about Jordan Montgomery. It's playoff time, and the thing that playoff teams have is pitching. And so if we could get some, that'd be nice.
Tyler Glasnow.
To join in on that fun. That'd
be nice.
He's going to make $25 million next year. This year, he made a career-high 21 starts. Prior to this season, 2017 with Pittsburgh, he appeared in 15 games through 62 innings. In Tampa and Pittsburgh in 2018. He pitched in 45 games. 11 of them were starts, 111 innings. 2019, he was hurt, 12 starts, 60 innings. 2020 was the COVID year. He did start all 11 and threw 57. Last year, 2021, 14 starts, 88 innings. Last year, 2 starts, 6 innings. And then this year, came back and threw 120 innings, a career high 120 innings in 21 starts. So do you believe the 120 innings this year, or do you believe the rest of the career?
The rest of the career, I think, is always something that's a little bit concerning. I would like to believe. How old is he, by the way?
He is 30.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I would say that the rest of the career is something that I might look at with that.
Do you want to trade with Tampa? Because Tampa's going to ask for somebody that's good.
Can we?
Well, they think they know is good, and we aren't sure.
Haven't figured out. Can we get a Rosarina back?
That'd be interesting.
Hey, that a Rosarina guy. How about that? How
about that?
How about that?
Glasnow is under contract next year for $25 million. So here's the way things went yesterday. The Twins over the Blue Jays 3-1, although the back end of the Blue Jays bullpen did pitch very, very well. Twins will go with our guy Sonny Gray today, and they won their first playoff game since 2004, so now they're on a roll, and now they have to pitch Sonny Gray in a playoff game. Rangers over the Rays 4-0. The Rays play in front of the smallest playoff crowd in over a century. The smallest crowd since the Black Sox scandal in the playoffs. Game 9 of the 1919 World Series.
No one's there?
Game 9. It was a best of 9, yeah. I guess that people knew by that point the thing was
fixed.
Yeah, not on the up and up.
Yeah.
Something here is not right. I don't know what it is, but Phillies feel right.
Phillies over the Marlins. Phils take a 4-1-0 lead in that series with a 4-1 victory. Crowd was crazy in that one. And the Diamondbacks beat the Brewers 6-3. Go D-backs. They beat Corbin Burns. So go D-backs. Yes, sir.
That Phillies game had some interesting things take place. All right, so Bryce Harper, who we know and love, he's a hell of a player. Scored from first on a double. Well, it ended up being a triple. He ran through the stop sign.
Yep.
I was wondering, and then Craig Kimbrell got on the mound. He got a runner on second base, and he's doing his thing, and he comes to set, and he just drops the ball. Just put him at third base. I don't like him behind me. It made me wonder if that was taking place during the 2 o'clock meeting. Did they talk about that potentially taking place? You get a runner on second in the bottom of the 9th, just drop the ball, put him at third. Do you think that or do you think, Randy, that Bryce Harper running through the stop sign, that was a personal decision by a player, a man on the field, where he made a decision, it was the right decision, and it worked out for the team?
Bryce Harper's a ball player, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he is different than most, and he is not a robot, and Rob Thompson understands.
Give me some of those guys.
Dave Dombrowski understands that these are not robots, that they're men, not machines, that they have a heartbeat in this game. And look at Philadelphia. Look at that team with people like Trey Turner and Castellanos, people that play with emotion, and people that play with heart, and Wheeler and Nola at the top of the rotation. That right now, and they were in the World Series last year, wouldn't surprise anybody, I don't think, if they came back this year to the World Series. That is an old school baseball team, and they're fun to watch.
It's interesting that if you sign players to be who they are and you let them be who they are, good things tend to happen.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a key to that.
Yeah, but I understand that there are some people that like to be in complete control and have it be more like a chess or checkers game rather than people actually playing the game. Unfortunately, for those people that believe that it's just a chess piece, it's not. Those people do have brains and hearts and instinct like Bryce Harper showed.
Yeah, well, even in chess, you can't just map out how the chess match is going to go prior. You can't just...
But sometimes it's computers playing.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess.
That's what some teams want, is the computer to play.
Yeah.
Pshaw.
Give me a human being that makes plays.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
You had a bad back?
Yeah, about a week back.
Okay.
But remember how Albert always used to run through stop signs, and his teammates called him the Phantom, because here's Albert Pujols. He's the best player in the game. And it was kind of like Brett Hull finding the open spot in the ice. People had no idea that Albert Pujols was going to be able to run around third, past the stop sign, and score. And he did it most of the time. I'll bet he was successful doing that about 90% of the time.
I mean, it probably caught the outfielder off guard as well. You don't expect someone that is not extremely fast to just keep going.
Yep.
But you make a decision and have conviction in it, go do it.
Yep.
If it works, it works.
City plays tonight, back in action in Van Blank, Vancouver to face off against the Whitecaps. Yes. You might wonder why.
Yes, thank you.
Why we say Van Blank, Vancouver. Well, back in the day, with old school hockey players, people like Brian Sutter and Bernie Federko and things like that, they were kind of like being in Boston, where the F word had to be used in pretty much every sense. So, first we go to Calgary, and now we have to go to Van Blank, Vancouver. It was just so that they could get the word in there. So that's that. It was just part of who they were. They had to say the word, so it became Van Blank, Vancouver.
I've never felt such camaraderie with people from Boston before.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, they like that word. They do.
Yes.
Those movies like The Town. The Town is a great movie.
Oh,
it really is.
Yeah.
I like the movie.
What's the other one with Nicholson?
Oh my God, The Departed.
Departed. Yeah. Those movies are great. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like the Boston Mafia.
It's a little different.
Ours was different. Ours got shut down. Back in my day. We've got to ask Uncle Randy, but I'll tell you a little quick thing here. Ask Uncle Randy's coming up.
We should have it back in my day.
Yeah, we do. But back in my day, when I was a youngster, before you guys were born, we used to have a real mafia here in St. Louis.
Okay.
All right. And so the mafia leader, I think his name was Leisure, died. And so there was a big battle for the supremacy within the mob here in St. Louis. And one guy loses his legs in a car bomb in his driveway. Another guy named Jimmy Michaels is driving down 55 and his car just blows up. Boom. And then the feds got involved and ruined everything for him. But we had, car bombs were going crazy here in St. Louis.
I was just about to ask you, do you remember where you were when Jimmy Michael's car blew up? That was going to be my question out the gate.
I was in school because the Post-Dispatch used to be an afternoon newspaper. We had the Globe-Democrat in the morning, Post-Dispatch in the afternoon. I come home and there's photos of this car blown up on the highway. And usually I go right to the sports page. I said, I got to see this. And you can, there's a book about it. It's not.
I'm looking it up right now. You said David Leisure?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There's a thing called Murderpedia that you can look up, and he's listed on there.
He had a moat around his house.
Yeah, is he the one that survived or died? Was David the leader? Because there was one of the leaders.
Murderpedia.
Okay. And then there was Paul. Paul might have been the one that...
yeah, he didn't live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so...
Wow. This is interesting.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm seeing all the stuff about the car bombing. That was a big issue, huh?
It was. Not that I want it to happen to anybody, but it was very interesting at the time. So, yeah, we had mafia here in town.
Wow.
We did. And, they solved their problems. Here's the thing. It's kind of like throwing at a batter. If they had a problem, they took care of it themselves. Okay, they didn't need somebody from the out. They didn't need Major League Baseball or umpires to throw somebody out. They took care of problems themselves and moved on. Like old school hockey. Okay, you got a beef with somebody, you just beat them up and move on, and you go spend your 5 minutes in the penalty box, and then you're done.
I don't know if car bombing is the way to go about that.
It's at different levels. Okay, the hockey fight and the car bombing are different, but for them. The car bombing was kind of like getting into a little, like Tony Twist getting into a ruckus with Rob Ray. It's just different. It's the same but different.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Speaking of Ask Uncle Randy, back in my day, we've got that coming up for you, and all you need to do is text in to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Okay, so here we are. It's fall. It's going to be in the 60s this weekend. And so the greatest time of year, baseball playoffs, football in full swing, hockey starting up. The weather's awesome. This is as good as it gets, folks. So text in if you have any questions about this time of year or any plans you have. Maybe you're in a new relationship and you need a little advice. We're here for you on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN. Got a question for Uncle Randy? Let him dive into his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
Time for Ask Uncle Randy on a hump day on 101 ESPN. Brooke is here, Carrie is here, Matthew is here, and Uncle Randy is here for you. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the old text line to help us out here?
Dear Uncle Randy, my wife gave me permission for 3 separate full hunting trips 4 hours away while she keeps the kids, all 3 kids, all weekend each time. Is this a trap, or do I go hunt and make sure I just take care of her between the times of each trip?
She is being wonderful, and yes, all you have to do is continue to take care of her between each trip. But she cares about you. She wants you to be happy. She knows happy guy, happy life. And what you have to do is make sure that it's happy wife, happy life. But that is extraordinarily generous of her with her taking care of the kids. And yeah, and give her the opportunity for, if there's ever the desire on her part, for the girls' time out or the girls' trip out. She's done really good things for you. And no, it's not a trap. She's just in love with you. It's great.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
nice.
think she would say that without, because I mean, especially 3 separate ones.
Yeah.
I mean, to go ahead and approve that, I like the advice that you gave. Just, if you see some things to help her out, or maybe give her like a night off prior to that, or even when you get back, I think that would be nice.
Quick dinner. Take her out.
Yeah.
Get a babysitter.
Dear Uncle Randy, I got promoted yesterday, and as my reward, my wife is encouraging me to buy myself a new driver. No budget. I've never bought my own before. What should my process be?
Okay, this is very, very easy. Depending on where you live, you go to Golf Discount, either in O'Fallon, Missouri, or in South County, okay? Ask for Todd in South County. Ask for Chris in O'Fallon. They will help you properly fit your driver. They will make sure that you have the perfect driver for yourself. And it will change your game and ergo change your life. I have a fitted driver, and it has changed my life and made me a much happier individual. So that's my recommendation is don't go in with a preconceived idea. The biggest mistake that I have made in the past is getting clubs because they looked cool. Let them recommend a club to you and make sure that it fits great, because once you hit it a few times, it'll look really cool once you're hitting it well. Mm-hmm. So that'd be my recommendation is go get it fitted. And drivers can be rather expensive propositions at times. But again, you're going to get the best price with our friends at Golf Discount of St. Louis. And that's not just because they are, or have been at least, sponsors on the show, but they do great work. I get all my golf stuff. I buy all my golf stuff at Golf Discount.
Tell them Randy sent you.
Yep. And they'll take care of you.
It's funny, we were just talking about this topic before the show, Randy. Dear Uncle Randy, when it comes to a wedding budget, how can I ensure that we stay relatively close to it? I'm being ganged up by my wife and my future wife and the daughter. We all agreed to a budget 1 year ago, and even with inflation factored in, it's getting really, really crazy. They keep adding extra days like bachelorette, engagement, groom parties that we're expecting to pay for also. How do I rein this in?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to the woman that is going to get married next year. But I will say this, because Michelle Smallman was talking about the outrageous cost of weddings this morning on Sportsmanlike, and it does appear to be outrageous. Here's the thing that I would say first, Brooke, before I give you the floor. The wedding is going to be one day. You plan on having a house for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. My thought process would be, not a recommendation, my thought process is, I would prefer to spend my money on a house than the wedding day.
100%. I totally agree. And that's tailored to everybody's lifestyle, right? Like if you already have a house, then it's a little bit different. But weddings are so crazy expensive. So I completely understand.
50% of them don't even work.
Oh, no. They're so expensive. I think if you came up with a budget, then you try to continue to stick to that as much as possible. And like even breaking things down on kind of, something like we have, different budgets that we had already in mind for things, like asked around with people, like, how much did you spend on this? What should we be expecting? And even weddings that you went to, I think that helps. But weddings, I'm telling you, wedding culture has gotten just insane with the expectations of like what you're supposed to do. And it's such a competitive industry that, I mean, some of the vendors that we discuss, and we like our vendors that we have right now, so it's nothing against them, but they would be like, okay, well, you have 24 hours to put your deposit down. I'm like, I don't even have time to think about this. Like, these are like very expensive decisions to make. My biggest advice is just to maybe reiterate, the day is about you, not about the guests. Yes, it's nice for your guests to take the time to come, but you have to remember at the end of the day, it's what is best for you guys as a couple. The people there should not be caring about how many flowers you have, how many, different things you have decoration-wise. It should be about what everybody's there for, which is celebrating the ceremony between you two.
Good advice, Cousin Brooke.
I don't think you should go broke.
No, it's not worth any of that.
For a wedding, that for a marriage that is going to last, hopefully, many, many years.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there was a daughter involved here, right?
Yeah, I believe it was a little convoluted, but I'm guessing he's the father of the bride.
Okay,
and that's what he's dealing with, is that his wife and the daughter who's getting married are both running a little rampant.
And I cannot, obviously relate to this. Carrie cannot relate to this, but for a lot of people, a lot of women, and Brooke, you see this. Cool. You've seen this throughout your life, and we've actually talked about this. For a lot of women, they're thinking more about the wedding than the marriage. And so I'm thinking more long term rather than that particular day. But I think there are a lot of women. I don't blame them. They've grown up having a dream wedding, right? They've got their vision of what they want to do. But that's the other thing that I would try to convince people to think of, is think about the marriage rather than the wedding. Yeah,
and then try to save some money along the way. And you have a budget. Hopefully they already had a budget in mind before they started wedding planning, so that way you could always defer back to that and say, well, this is what we had. Of course, some things might cost just a little bit extra, but then okay, what are some things we can cut out? Do we need a videographer? Do we need, a giant flower piece over the cake? It's things that you can cut out that aren't necessary.
Right. And two things.
Then what are they going to think when they show up?
Yeah.
And they don't see the flower over the cake, the flowers over it.
You didn't
cascading.
spend $50,000 on one day.
Two tidbits of advice, and this used to be a given in St. Louis. Obviously not right now, but in general, don't schedule a wedding in October in St. Louis. And don't schedule a wedding on Final Four weekend, please. Please don't schedule a wedding on Final Four weekend. I've had that happen twice.
Really?
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'll add one.
Think about Randy.
I'll add one because I almost ran into this situation. Don't do an out-of-town weekend one on the Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No. Unless it's in the Super Bowl city or Vegas.
That's the only, that's good caveats. Uncle Randy, I wanted to travel for Christmas this year. The kids are older and gifts are silly at their age. A vacation over the holiday somewhere that's warm sounds great. The problem is my dad won't travel and I feel bad leaving him alone on Christmas. What should we do?
You have a finite amount of time with your dad, so take advantage of that time that you have. And obviously, you have a finite amount of time with everybody in your family. But if your dad can't or won't travel, spend Christmas with him. Here's another thing you can do, by the way. If you want to travel over the holidays, leave on Christmas Day. Have Christmas morning with Dad, and then leave on Christmas Day and take your trip between Christmas and New Year's.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that is.
And traveling on Christmas Day, it's always slow. So, yeah, fly then. Uncle Randy's got an answer for you, baby.
I legitimately love that answer so much. We just got the... This is a weird configuration. We just got the weirdest Uncle Randy we've ever gotten. Dear Uncle Randy, my wife is really good at buying nice decorations. She is not, however, good at keeping a strong theme. Our rustic picture frame does not go with that African vase. What do I do? This is the same guy, by the way, who texted a few weeks ago and dropped the Magnolia Network.
Oh, is he the same one?
This guy's got his own eye.
It sounds like he needs to start designing some things. So. Yeah.
If everything matches, I'm cool with it.
He's saying it doesn't. Yeah. He's saying it really doesn't. doesn't.
Okay. Like
Doesn't
even
go together.
color-wise.
He says she's good at finding a good deal on the decorations, but the rustic frame doesn't go with the African face.
Okay.
It sounds like he maybe is into interior design. So I wish that maybe they could collaborate on some things. 'Cause it sounds like he has like an idea and an eye for that. Because I wouldn't know anything about like any. I don't know how to do that stuff with interior design. Yeah. So I would be the person that's like putting just weird things together.
I would too. That's why I say it doesn't seem like a big deal to me. But if it is a big deal for you, here's the way I would do it. I would say, hey, babe, why don't we move this African vase into this room, and then we'll move this vase into this room so that they are a little bit more in line with a thematic hope that we hope to have in each room. So we've got one set of decorations in the living room, one in the family room, one in put the stuff that you really hate downstairs. So you don't have to
Out of the way, outside of the line.
Yeah, but that's the way I do it. And I'm like you guys. I would not be a great interior decorator, and certainly not a thematic interior decorator. And I'm colorblind, so I'm over 3.
Tell us that. Yeah.
So, then you really would struggle putting things together in certain rooms.
Why is that dark green frame in our room? That's black.
What kind of colorblind are? Do you know which kind it is?
Like for the Chicago Bears helmets, I see those as black.
Really?
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Can you tell the difference between red and green?
Red and green is tough. Or if I put a penny on a green to mark a ball, inevitably. Or here's the worst. Like yesterday, I'm playing. You guys see a bright red flag 100 yards away against a tree or green. It takes me forever to find a flag.
Really?
Because the red and green mesh together.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just need like a bright white marker for on the green?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
or something
interesting.
big, but just not a penny, thank you.
Oh, Christmas must be rough for you.
That's all right. Did you
a lot of red and green.
Did you ever see, because a lot of red green colorblind people, when the Jets and Bills did the color rush?
Yes.
If you just Google Jets Bills colorblind, we saw it all the same.
Yeah.
It was kind of
Couldn't tell.
no, it was bad. Is that it? Are we done? You got one more?
We're done.
Okay, good. That's Ask Uncle Randy. Thank you so much for your texts. We do appreciate them. And by the way, if you want to watch us, we got a new thing on our show rundown here. We've got studio camps presented by the Air Alliance team. And if you just go to YouTube and go to 101 ESPN STL, you can watch us. You can actually watch us do this show. Coming up next, we've got NFL news and notes on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, wildcard games won across the MLB. Blue Jays and Twins 3-1 with their first playoff win since 2004. The Rangers over the Rays 4-0. The Phillies over the Marlins 4-1, and the D-backs over the Brewers 6-3. You can catch Game 2 of that Phillies and Marlins series right here on 101 ESPN. 6:30 pregame starts right here again, 101 ESPN. Also coming up tonight, St. Louis City SC is back in action. They travel across the border to face off against the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's a late kickoff at 9:30 p.m. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffauto.com. Are you kidding me?
Time for NFL news and notes tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. I got to laugh. Bears and Commanders. Oh. Bears and Commanders. It'll be worth it if you.
Game of the year.
Pretty much everybody in the world has Amazon Prime, right? So you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. But it'll be worth it if you don't have Amazon Prime, just to get it so you can hear Al Michaels complain tomorrow night about the football game that you're going to have to endure.
Endure is a great word.
to describe whatever word. That is.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The Bears, it's not bad.
0-4.
It's not great. The Bears, Broncos, Browns, they are all essentially, there's one organization just rotating, different colors.
If I were a Chicago talk show host, I would be flabbergasted, because I am, that Matt Eberflus is still the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Well, they're probably going to wait the year out. If making a change right now is not going to change anything. I mean, if you remove him from that position, what do you already? I think your defensive coordinator already
he left.
Yeah,
but that's one of the reasons. For me, CD, it would be perception. Because this guy, like, you've got your PR staff saying, we told Chase Claypool to stay home. And you've got the coach saying, that was a game day decision. It was his choice. You've got the whole Alan Williams situation where he won't answer questions. And evidently, he and his staff are not very good.
Well, no. If you're having trouble winning football games, that would make you. That's kind of the job. You got to win football games in order to keep your job. But
kind of.
If you're not able to do that, you're probably not going to have a job much longer. The Eberflus and Chase Claypool incident is intriguing, because normally, if you're told to not show up, you won't show up. But if you don't know, and you don't know you're not dressing, you would probably get to the game, not see your stuff in the locker room, and then go home. So it sounds to me like maybe Eberflus didn't want to have that conversation in that moment and just say, hey, yeah, we're sick of it.
Yeah, let me just give you a play here, because it is a perception thing, and you're in Chicago. Here's what I would do. I would hire Mike Singletary as my head coach, not unlike the coach in Indy last year, like Jeff Saturday getting the job. Singletary's wanted to coach that team for a long time. Say, okay, here you've got it for a dozen games, and let's see how it goes. But we want you to be our guy. He's wanted that job before. I don't know if he would want it now, but at least Bears fans can latch onto, well, here's the guy that was the key to the 1985 team. I think you need to give those fans something to latch onto.
I'm looking at Eberflus's record. He's 3-18.
Oh, he's bad.
But he's only been there 2 years.
He was a bad assistant coach, too.
Yeah.
And I say this with all due respect. Gary Pinkel guy, right? He was the defensive coordinator at Mizzou, and they had some pretty good defenses. But from everything I understand, in Dallas, he was not really well thought of, and that didn't break their heart when he left there. And in Indy, he was not highly thought of at all, and it didn't break their. They thought that when he got the Bears job in Indy, that it was a huge upgrade, just because he left.
Well, the Bears are a terrible organization, terrible franchise in this moment.
And they have nobody on their staff where you say, okay,
where they could take over, right, even
you
for
say
a little
that's
bit.
An interim.
Yeah, that was my question: is do you just get rid of him and have an interim take over? Because you also have to figure out what you have with Justin Fields, right? I mean, Fields came in with so much promise, and I know you say that with the Bears, but still better than what you were expecting that you've seen from him this season. Do you not try to do that before the season ends, just so that you can evaluate where he's at?
One thing we're seeing with Nathaniel Hackett and with Luke Getsy is that Matt LaFleur is a genius.
Oh, yeah. he is. And he's won like 70% of his games. He's a really good offensive mind.
Yeah.
And, he's a really good coach.
Yeah. Well, the other big thing that I wanted to ask you about, the Giants losing 2 players due to the tush push. I'm calling it the tush push because I think that's what it should be called. CD, why are teams still doing this if they're not Jalen Hurts and the Eagles?
So it's a copycat league. Everyone wants to do what works for – if it works for one team, they want to try it. They want to see if it's going to work. Jalen Hurts squats like 600 pounds. So I think that helps in this. They call it the brotherly shove now.
I like tush push.
I know. Yeah, okay.
But you can't. Brotherly shove works in Philly, but not anywhere else.
So tush push in other cities. I mean, it's a quarterback sneak. You should be able to get 1 yard or half a yard. All you need to do is be lower than the defensive line and go forward. And then it's on the quarterback to find that open space to get that 1 yard. And the Giants ran it and clearly didn't have success with it.
No. So injured shoulder and knee injury coming out of that.
That's
failed
ridiculous.
attempt.
That's ridiculous. Come on, man. Come on.
Okay.
You got to be a little tougher.
CD, I got to come on, man, for you.
Okay.
We have a ton of respect. You love Coach T.
Yes.
All right. Coach T is not suggesting that play calling is a problem. He says, we just aren't physical enough. We need to practice in pads on Wednesdays.
Oh, let me tell you something, Pittsburgh Steelers. You do not want that man to have you practice in pads every Wednesday because he will take it to the extreme and you will be practicing in pads in week 17. You're going to figure it out one way or another. I'm telling you, it's too much. Normally in the NFL, you get to about week 8. I know Ike and Mike Jones, they didn't have any sympathy for me because they went through hell, so I get it. But my version of it was bad as well.
Right. And now, did you have the 14-day, you only get 14 fully padded practices?
Hell no. We had however many days you wanted. We were in full pads for both practices in training camp. Backs on backers, blitz pickup every single day, middle drill, 9-on-7. Like it was full throttle every single day. You had to do it.
They have to recognize that Matt Canada's a problem there. Somebody's got to be the adult in the room.
I do think getting back to the physicality part, you putting them pads on, getting you some inside run going on, some blitz pickup, some physical parts of the game, physical nature, blitz, all of that. Just get to it because it is not great right now.
Are they going to have their first losing season under Tomlin?
Oh, man. I think this defense holds them together. I think the defense will be able – I mean, they won the Browns game. The defense did. They scored a couple of times. I think that is going to be what's going to help them keep it together.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think that's what you said, too, about the physicality. That's what I think of with the Steelers is that physicality. And so to be able to bring that back, and also with Matt Canada, I think he has to go, right? Like, especially if they finish with a losing season.
I'm not a proponent of anyone losing their job, but again, this is a business
Rehome.
Okay,
yes.
Rehome. If anyone doesn't perform well, you don't get to keep your job. It's too many. There are too many people vying for those positions for you to keep that job if it's not at a high level. So I was surprised that Matt Canada was returned as the OC for this season.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen again.
No, it's very interesting because it feels like with NFL coaching, once you get into the fraternity, like literally you will never get out unless you want to. And you could be bad or I'm not saying he's terrible, but I'm just saying you could be bad and not exactly perform your jobly duties and still get another job elsewhere.
And they've got a guy on their staff, Mike Sullivan, their quarterback's coach, who was the quarterback's coach for a couple of championship teams in New York with the Giants. I don't. For me, when I watch them, they need a philosophical change. They don't call, and I am not somebody who complains about play callers, but with this guy I do, because the play calling just doesn't seem to be sensible. It's not Steelers play calling.
It's not. No.
Maybe having Ben Roethlisberger makes play calling easier.
It does, but you know what also makes life easier? When you run the damn ball.
Yeah.
Get under center, run the ball. You got a very good tight end. I know he's hurt right now, but you have enough pieces. Now, offensive line-wise, maybe they still need to grow up. They still have some room for improvement, but run the football, man.
Yeah.
Get under center, run the ball, play action fake, do what Kenny Pickett does and makes him comfortable. not try to fit him into the mold that you feel is best for your offense. Do what the quarterback does best. Give them an opportunity to be successful.
We have football for you this weekend here on 101 ESPN. Steelers and Ravens at noon, so you will hear those Steelers. Good luck against the Ravens. Broncos and Jets at 3:25. Broncos and Jets at 3:25 right here on 101 ESPN. Feel free to take a nap on Sunday afternoon. And then Cowboys and Niners for Sunday night football.
You sleep right through that one, huh? You're not missing anything.
I think, now, if you're driving around, don't take a nap.
Don't take a nap.
Yeah, but man, if that
you're
one's
listening on the app at home,
exactly.
You sleep right through that one.
Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646 314-399 Yo-ho. Tioli next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I'm texting with a guy, a listener who loves Metro and wants to ride with me, and I think that'll be fun. We'll get a group of people to ride to a Blues game together on the Metro. I use it on a regular basis. You know, parking for sporting events can be a hassle at times, and it's so easy to just park at the Clayton or the Richmond Heights station, hop on the Metrolink and ride down there. And I always run into people and talk sports on the Metro because it's a great group of people that ride the Metro. I have enjoyed it for years, and if you use it, you'll love it. And you know what? Having a healthy public transportation system is really vital to a region, to attract big companies to St. Louis. If you already like the Metro, you'll love it once you know what difference Metro makes in all of our communities in the St. Louis metro area. If you want to support your community, riding the Metro supports local businesses and helps to reduce traffic congestion, and it also will provide flexibility. It offers various ticket options and schedules to accommodate your busy lifestyle. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Hope you'll join me on the Metro heading down to a Blues game this year. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, set it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Ascioli on 101 ESPN. And the wild card round continues tonight here on 101 ESPN with the Phillies and Marlins, game 2 of their series. We also have, during the course of the weekend, more playoff baseball. And we don't have MVPs for this wild card round, but once we get to the championship series and the World Series, we do have MVPs. Brooke and Carrie, take it or leave it, a former Cardinal will win a postseason MVP this postseason.
I'll take it. I'm going to take it.
Whether it's Jordan Montgomery or one of the relievers or a Rosarena or Garcia or somebody, there will be a former Cardinal that wins one of those awards.
I'll take it. Brooke,
I'm going to take it too.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
How many are there playing?
Do we see the list?
Every team
except for the Brewers.
Except for the Brewers and there's an American League team too. And Alcantara's, I don't think Alcantara's going to pitch.
Yeah. Zach Gallen's going tonight?
Yeah.
And then future Cardinal Sonny Gray, if you want to go ahead and count him into it.
We can,
okay.
Well, Brooke, it's playoff time.
So that's a negative?
Mm-hmm. Poor Sonny Gray. He'll just never. He's going to be a St. Louis Cardinal, and then he'll find out how Randy feels about him. It'll be sad.
I was looking at that game last night, and I got kind of down.
Yeah.
Because that environment in Philly looked really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And I don't know that Aaron Nola, if given a contract that is equal to, is going to choose anywhere else over Philadelphia.
It is but you know what? It's a fun atmosphere here. It'll be wild when the Cardinals get back to the playoffs.
But you don't leave the known for the unknown if all things are equal, generally.
Well, people go where the money goes. So
that's what I'm saying. If it's equal, if the Cardinals are not, and I'm not talking like 2-3 million more. I'm talking about 10, 15, 20 million more. Mm-hmm. Then we may have a deal.
Yeah. Houston, by the way, does not have a former Cardinal. It's the Brewers and the Astros. So, which is no surprise. I don't think that they like working with the Cardinals.
Didn't they have one last year? Wasn't it Ledmus Diaz?
Ledmus Diaz, yeah. He's not there.
That was my guy. I liked old Ledmus Diaz.
Good 1 year.
He was. One good year. Get you paid most times.
Donovan Solano with the Twins. Obviously, we know the Blue Jays guys. Garcia, Montgomery, Stratton with the Rangers, Rosarena with Tampa. Atlanta has Ozuna. Philly has Edmundo Sosa's probably not going to win postseason award. The Marlins, as we mentioned, Alcantara isn't going to do anything there. Doyers have still Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn. I don't think Colton Wong's eligible for the playoffs. And then the Diamondbacks with Pham and Gallen.
Hey, pretty good players.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yep. So we were talking about coaches and things that Eberflus and all these other guys. Take it or leave it, there are going to be at least 4 openings for NFL head coaches at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take that for sure.
I got McDaniels, Dennis Allen, Arthur Smith, Eberflus, Brandon Staley, and that's 5. And maybe...
You think Arthur Smith gets whacked?
Randy. They have drafted... In the last 3 years, they've drafted a wide receiver / tight end in the first round, a wide receiver in the first round, a running back in the first round, and only the running back gets the ball. So
it's because of the quarterback that they drafted, and he's not drafting guys.
He's there, so he can't get. Even in Tennessee, what did you know Arthur Smith for?
Handing the ball off to Derrick Henry.
There you go.
Yes, so exactly.
That's what he does well.
And being the FedEx guy's son.
Is he?
Fred Smith, owner of FedEx.
Really?
Arthur Smith.
How
is
did
his
I
son.
not know that?
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's got a gig after he gets whacked.
There you go.
But
he's good.
Do you think it will be more musical chairs, what we were talking about, of it just being a fraternity in the NFL, where it's going to be just basically musical chairs, everybody switching around jobs,
but we're running
essentially?
Out of guys. We're running out of old boy network guys.
Yeah, you got to get some youth in there, some young blood, some guys that are up and coming, some former players, some guys that are maybe coaching at the collegiate level. You're not going to get those named guys. Lincoln Riley's not leaving USC to go coach for the Chicago Bears. I mean, I just don't. Or for the Atlanta Falcons. That's not going to happen.
Among those 4, take it or leave it, Belichick is one of them.
That's another one. And what about Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, I can tell you it's getting a little tense there in Tennessee. I know that was a good win against the Bengals, but still, just the fact that they've been so hot and cold. this felt like a very, very important season for him because also, mind you, Derrick Henry, this is the last year of his contract. So there's going to be a lot depending on, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? There's a lot of question marks surrounding that. So it felt like this season needs to be a really big one for Vrabel.
It's going to be intriguing.
Yeah.
Ron Rivera as well.
I think there's a chance that he could be out of there, especially new ownership.
Yeah. Take it or leave it, guys. We didn't get to touch on this in the NFL news and notes, but it is interesting. Aaron Rodgers apparently is doing really well on his recovery. You guys saw this past weekend where he was walking around on crutches and people were like, wow, that is a lot quicker than expected. And he is eyeing a return this season. Take it or leave it. He will return this season.
Leave it.
I agree with you guys. I just want to ask it, but I feel like that would be too soon.
Think about Waino, and Waino in a different sport. It took him 5 months, and he was pitching, and pitching is hard, but playing quarterback and running around is a different animal altogether. If it took Waino 5, there's no way Rodgers gets back in 4 to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that offensive line is not going to be better by the time he returns, which is part of the reason why he's out now, because he's under pressure.
And the record won't be worth it for him to come back.
No, it just doesn't seem worth it whatsoever.
All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line there? He's thinking.
Take it or leave it. If someone beats Calvin Johnson's single season receiving record, wow, a lot of S's there, they should be the MVP.
The MVP or the offensive player of the year?
I said MVP.
Here's the thing. There was a
2,000 yards
talking
Terry.
about this. Yeah, I know. I hear you. There was someone talking about this, that the quarterbacks should have their own award.
They should.
It shouldn't be the MVP because essentially you have made quarterbacks the MVP every single year.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really unfair to all of the other positions. No matter how well they play, they're never going. Quarterback touches the ball every single play.
Mm-hmm.
They are them and the center are the only two people that touch the ball every single play. So you're never going to have a position player have as many opportunities as a quarterback. I'll leave it until they make a decision to give the quarterbacks their own set of awards.
Why do you hate Tua?
Here's one other point. If you want to apply the word valuable, if A.J. Brown catches passes for 2,000 yards, that's a wonderful thing. However, if Marcus Mariota is the quarterback for the Eagles, is A.J. Brown going to catch 2,000 yards worth of passes? Rather than Jalen Hurts.
Marcus Mariota?
It's going to be a lot harder for him to do it.
Yeah. If Marcus Mariota is throwing A.J. Brown 2,000 yards worth of passing, then A.J. Brown is indeed your MVP.
Then Brooke is really pissed.
Oh, yeah. That's too much. That's too much. I would have to look away from that. To have Marcus Mariota actually pan out and A.J. Brown continue to just throw it back in the Titans' face, that's too much. That was a bad era in Tennessee. It was the Marcus Mariota era. But there was a lot of those. I was asking yesterday, I asked Randy this, but this is a little off subject, but take it or leave it, Vince Young probably would have been more successful if Jeff Fisher wasn't his head coach.
Vince Young would have been. I think Vince was Vince's own problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't know him personally, but I think, young player trying to figure things out. If you dial in and lock in a little bit more, probably would have had more success. Sometimes
not spending all that
you
money. Restaurants.
And here was my comp. If Vince Young, his head coach is Jim Harbaugh, and his offensive coordinator is Greg Roman, how much different is his career?
Probably a lot different.
Yeah.
But again, it's on the player. Like, the player has to lock in, dial in, and not have all of the other outside factors. When you're a young player, that's the most important time to really. You can party and hang out. I'm not saying that that's what Vince was doing, but you can do all of the other
pictures
things.
Of it.
Okay, well, you can do all the other things afterwards. Like, if you want to be a successful player, you have to really dial into the fundamentals and be tuned in every single day.
I think let me try shirtless Vince Young on Google.
Oh, we'll bring up.
You remember that?
I don't know. This random conversation of that era of the Titans. Maybe look up where Norm Chow's coaching right now.
Yeah, just if you kids just want to Google shirtless Vince Young at the club, it's there. Yeah, he was
just having fun.
He was. He could go shirtless, and he made it work.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he did look like he might have had a few drinks.
He's just celebrating. That's it.
We definitely had a few drinks out at night. Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Aaron Rodgers went to Colombia or another south of the border country and got stem cell therapy on that Achilles.
Oh, take it.
Oh, I'm going to take that.
1,000%.
Yep. He called Peyton Manning and said, "Hey, where'd you get that stuff done in Europe? Remember when Manning?
Oh, didn't he get something for his neck? Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like when what was it that was sent to his house and it was to his wife? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
What?
You don't remember that? You don't remember that?
No.
Peyton?
Yes.
You didn't know that?
You don't remember
But it
that
went to
for
his
his
wife.
neck issues.
It was for his wife.
Yeah, but it was for his wife, CD, so it wasn't him. Yeah. It's okay. We all forgot about it. Yeah.
There was a former Cardinal reliever that they traded to Cleveland. Was it Chris Perez? It was a good closer.
I think so, yeah.
And he had stuff mailed to his dog.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nobody would suspect anything with that.
Oh, never. No.
Yeah.
You got one more?
One 19-year-old in college hasn't tried that one. Yeah, sure. Take it or leave it. Parayko is the Blues' most improved player this year.
Take it.
Most improved.
Most improved.
I'm going to leave it. Cairo.
Cleveland Indians closer Chris Perez fined $250 and sentenced to 1-year probation after pleading no contest to a misdemeanor charge stemming from his June arrest after a package containing 9 ounces of marijuana was delivered to his house in his dog's name.
I do remember that.
Was it sent to Skippy? And they were like, that's a little weird. Like,
No last name, huh?
Let's see if we can find it.
I do remember that.
He really shouldn't have put Scooby on the tag.
Scooby. Yeah. Sent some red
What was
flags.
the dog's name? Come on. Cute dog. Looks like it might have had.
Puff.
Maybe it needed.
I'm going to go with Puff. I'm going to go with Puff as the name of the dog.
It needed to be able to relax.
Doobie would have been a good one.
Yeah.
The dog did, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably had anxiety.
Brody was the dog's name. Brody.
Okay.
That's a very surfer name. I like that. That works.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your texts and things you just don't learn anywhere else, but right here in the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
We're informative.
Coming up next, should the Cardinals look across the ocean for their 2024 starting reinforcements? Do they have pitchers in London now? That's next on 101 ESPN. Rocc Grimsley and Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. It is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And we talk a lot about the American pitchers, or the pitchers that are pitching in America that are free agents at the moment for the Cardinals in 2024. We talk about Aaron Nola. We talk about Blake Snell. We talk about Sonny Gray. And here on this particular show, we really haven't talked a lot about the possibility of the Cardinals going out and exploring the Asian market again, which they've done before with a level of success. They had KK a couple of years ago, and he was really good in his first year, not so good in his second. They've had Soonwon Oh, who came over and did good work. They've had position players like So Taguchi, who is a Cardinal icon. Well, there's a couple of players out there that are really intriguing for major league teams. One is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He is apparently ready to become a star at the major league level after this season. Should the Cardinals, who have had a level of success, as we mentioned, in the Asian market, should they be looking at these guys as frontline starting pitchers? That's the first question. I would say that's a roll of the dice.
It is. It is a roll of dice. And what's interesting about Yamamoto, he's very dominant, and there is a lot of stories about how he will have a lot of success here. You just don't know, but that's kind of what you do with all pitchers, right? Whether that's Japanese pitchers or here in the U.S., it feels like it's a roll of the dice anyways. Yamamoto, though, is just very interesting and very dominant. I think he had like a league best, like 1.32 ERA at one point.
In 150 innings.
Yeah, in 150 innings this season. And the only thing is just his size. And I think he's around 5'10". A lot of people have had some concerns about that, about how that will go over here in the U.S.
We clearly, if we want Sonny Gray, we have no problems with that.
How tall is Sonny Gray?
5'10".
Is he 5'10"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
You should know that.
I should. Yes, he is a Smyrna boy, which that is near. That's actually where Jalen Ramsey's from, too. So very good for Smyrna.
Jalen Ramsey has a Super Bowl ring.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonny Gray can get a world championship. He's gonna win a.
Hey, he's going tonight.
MVP.
Yeah.
This postseason.
Just to taunt me.
Yep.
Yamamoto, I think, is I would love to have Yamamoto. I just think he's going to be way out of the possible price range with what they're predicting. I mean, it seems
predicting
like 200 million. Yeah.
So
starting out at 200 million.
What's the number that we talk about this? We talked about this last offseason, Randy, and we talked about the Cardinals were going to spend more money. Okay, technically they did, but not to the tune in which it was implied. And so when you're talking about the Cardinals needing pitching this offseason, you're talking about needing some aces. You're going to have to spend some money. You're going to be spending upwards to $30-35 million a year for a pitcher. And I don't think they'll do that for two pitchers. I don't think they'll put $60 million, $70 million a year for two guys. So what is the number that the Cardinals are going to be comfortable with spending on starting pitching this offseason? How high will they go for per year?
I don't know how desperate they are. That's the thing. They've got to have a level of desperation.
They got to be very desperate.
They should be desperate.
But the finances feels to me like it's never that much of a desperate situation.
No, and I still, until proven otherwise, I still believe that the Cardinals think they're smarter than most. We will find out if that's indeed the case. But if you can get a 25-year-old rather than Nola, Snell, Sonny Gray. Nola and Snell are both north of 30. Yes. Gray is 34. If you can get a 25-year-old.
Which is what Yamamoto is.
Yep, and not many miles on the arm because they pitch every 6th day in Japan. Maybe that's the direction the Cardinals should go.
The thing is that, and I know that even though some of the writers list some of the teams, that doesn't necessarily mean those are the only teams that are looking, but it seems like the Yankees are very interested in spending that money for Yamamoto. I have seen the Cardinals in possible connections with Shoto Imanaga, which is another starting pitcher. He is a little bit older. I believe he's 30 years old. He doesn't come with as much of the prestige that you're hearing with Yamamoto, but he's another kind of intriguing candidate. I think that he would profile probably more as like a 2-3. And so I don't know that that necessarily solves if you're looking for like a certified ace or somebody who's going to be a frontline starter like that, I don't know if he exactly solves all those problems, but that's just another possibility there. And he won't cost as much as Yamamoto, but there's there's a reason why he doesn't cost as much as Yamamoto.
In a piece at MLB.com, John Morosi writes that talent evaluators believe that Yamamoto's rookie year could be comparable to Yu Darvish.
Yeah, I saw
He was
that.
16-9 with a 3.9 and 29 starts. If the Cardinals could get that next year, I would take that. That would be front of the rotation material for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I'm reading this as well. They're talking about Yamamoto's, his athleticism. He's been compared to Marcus Stroman. So
And that's probably more because of the 5'10".
the Gold Glove,
Yes.
two-time All-Star. Like, still, the athleticism is important. The ability, is he going to be able to eat up the innings in that manner? You talk about the six-man rotation that they have in Japan. 150 innings in six-man rotation is not terrible.
No,
it's very good. But
it would be unfair to expect more than 150 innings out of the guy.
Yeah.
okay, but either way, the bottom line is how much are they willing to spend? Somewhere in the range of 6 or 7 years for $200 million. That's $28 to $33 million per year.
Yeah.
Are the Cardinals going to spend that much money on a pitcher, an unknown commodity? He's known over there, but how well will he perform here? And then at 25, I think is a great age. I think that's a wonderful age. Aaron Nola is a little bit older. Sonny Gray is 34, if I'm not mistaken. So those guys are, Aaron Nola is 30, Sonny Gray is 34. Those guys are older, but have done it at a higher level here. I think it's just a concern about where the Cardinals are going to spend the money and how much are they willing to spend, because I personally have not seen an ability to do so.
They have a budget. They're going to live within. Now, that budget might expand, but they're going to live within a budget. By the way, in September, there were 26 scouts and executives from 10 MLB teams. This is September 13th that were on hand to watch Imanga, and the Cardinals were conspicuously absent. That doesn't mean anything, but the Yankees, Red Sox, Jays, Rangers, Phillies, Cubs, Reds, Diamondbacks, Giants, and Padres were there. We know that the Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rangers, Phillies, and Padres really like to spend money. The Giants have a lot of dry powder, as the Cardinals call it. Arizona, Cincinnati, Cubs, we don't know, are other teams that were there. But seems like everybody that likes to spend money is going to be on the starting pitching market.
Well, because there's not much inventory out there, right? And everybody needs a starting pitcher. So this is going to be kind of a tough situation for everyone. Great if you're a starting pitcher, because it's just continuing to drive up the price, especially with Urias being out of that whole situation. So then that takes him out of it. And so then you have... It just doesn't feel like enough of an inventory for starting pitchers.
No.
But Imanaga is very interesting. I could see maybe the Cardinals, he would be more, I would assume, in the price range. I would love to get Yamamoto. But like you were saying, Carrie, it is a big question mark. If you're spending the money for a Japanese pitcher, then I would want more of a sure thing like Yamamoto.
And that's the thing. Is you hope that he's a sure thing.
You hope,
but you just don't know.
No. Yeah.
That's Brooke, that's Carrie, I'm Randy, and that's today's Fresh Take on 101 ESPN. And next up, we're going to talk to our buddy Jaime Rivers as we get ready for more Blues action tomorrow night. They're at Dallas. Talk to Rivs about where the Blues stand in training camp right now on 101 ESPN. Hey, you've got a fantastic lunch today at the Fenton Bar and Grill, but also know that you can watch a lot of great games at the Fenton Bar and Grill. They're going to have Blues specials throughout the season once they get rolling, and you should know that Cody Schrader's favorite spot when he comes back home is the Fenton Bar and Grill, and they'll have the Mizzou game on Saturday, 11 o'clock against LSU. Stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill. There will be a ton of Mizzou fans there, and it'll be a great place to watch the game. They're going to have happy hour specials throughout the course of the game. Mini tacos. Today is, by the way, National Taco Day. They're going to have their fried dill pickles, which are delicious. Their breaded spicy cheese curds, pretzel bites, fried green beans, and more. It's a great place to hang out. The Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. You can learn more about what they have in their menu at fentonbarandgrill.com. Follow them on the Facebook. And, oh, by the way, today when you stop by, you can say hi to Alicia and Kelly and Megan and Ashley and the whole crew. It's a wonderful crew to get your lunch from. They'll take care of you. They're very friendly. And you can talk sports at the Fenton Bar and Grill when you stop by. Tell them Randy sent you. With Brooke Grimsley and Carrie Davis, I'm Randy Carricker. We go now to the celebrity line, and one of our favorite celebrities is Jaime Rivers, who is, of course, co-host of our afternoon drive show, The Fast Lane, and he's also the new analyst on Bally Sports for Blues hockey. Rivs, good morning. How you doing?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Everything's good. Okay, we got to start with this, a non-hockey question. Is your American League team the Toronto Blue Jays?
Wow. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays because Mama Rivers, my mom, is a diehard Blue Jays fan. And I feel like the least I can do is support the one Canadian team that we have.
That's cool. Yeah, I was talking to Dan Schulman, their TV voice, when they came in on opening day. And he was talking about how when they go to Vancouver, or when they go to Seattle, people from Vancouver come down and they sell out all of the Seattle games because across the entire country, east to west, because it is Canada's team, everybody in Canada loves the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they're obviously the number one draw there. And I do hear rumblings again, Randy, that the Montreal Expos might make a return. And so that's exciting news, too, because I grew up watching Expos baseball. And obviously, we know that they moved the team and whatnot. But I think it'd be fun to have a couple Canadian teams back in there.
Well, when you draw 19,000 to a playoff game like Tampa did yesterday, yeah, they probably should be the Montreal Expos.
They'll get a lot more than 19,000 in Montreal.
Yes, they would. No doubt about it.
Well, Jaime, I think we're all ready for the season to start and to get away from preseason play. But what have you seen so far? Any other takeaways that you've seen recently in preseason play with the Blues?
The biggest thing I've noticed in practice and in games is that this team is trying to commit to better team defense. And, nothing is ever built overnight, and it's never right away that it happens. But, a tell for a team is always how hard they practice and in the manner that they practice. And watching the Blues do their defensive zone coverage, their neutral zone forecheck, and working on their forecheck, this is a team that recognizes that last year just wasn't good enough. And Craig Berube in the offseason, they make a little bit of a coaching change. They bring in Mike Weber. He's there to try and help tighten up the team defensively, at least offer his opinion on how to do that. And since training camp has started, every time I'm watching them, they're taking away the middle of the ice way better. In the defensive zone, there's many more layers of defense that are in the way. There's not that guy that's wide open in the middle of the ice right now. So, you know what? It's going to take a while for it to get to perfection, just like anything it does. But that's the biggest takeaway for me is that they're really committed to that team defense.
Jamie, I'm intrigued about this. How do guys become defensemen over forwards? Is it more about you're not as skillful, or is it more about more effort? Because I feel like defense requires more effort than offense does, and I would love to see more of that effort from the defensemen going into this 23-24 season.
Well, Kerry, I'm a little biased, but I think the defensemen are way more talented than the forwards. Here's why. We have the ability to skate forwards, backwards, sideways, you name it. We're covering guys skating backwards. We're making passes skating backwards. We're doing all sorts of things at the forwards. Well, you've seen some of them skate backwards. It ain't pretty out there sometimes. So, no, but all jokes aside, I became a defenseman. I'll give you a short story on how I became a defenseman. When I was growing up, we had 3 forward lines, so 9 players and 4 defensemen, and two pairs of defensemen. My dad wanted me to get more ice time, and so I was a centerman to start my youth hockey career. And he said, "You're going to play defense." And I said, "Well, Dad, I don't want to play defense." He goes, "Well, there's only 4 defense. It means you get on the ice every second shift. You get more ice time that way." And I said, "Well, I want to go score goals." He goes, "Who says you can't score goals?" He's like, "Just take the puck and go." And so that's what it was. I played defense because I got more ice time as a young kid, and then throughout my career up until the NHL anyways, I was an offensive guy going up scoring goals all the time.
Bruce Arians asked me in 2007, he said, "Hey, man, you want to be the second or third string tailback, or you want to be the starting fullback?" You know what? I'd rather be on the field every play. I ain't going to score as many touchdowns, obviously, but if I'm on the field all the time, I'm good with that. So it's a similar mindset.
Yeah, you got to become a chameleon sometimes, and that's honestly the latter part of my career. I was a chameleon. You talk to a team. Well, hey, can you play right side on defense? Yep. Can you play forward? Yep. Can you play goalie? I'll try. You name it, I'm there for you.
So, Jamie, how much do you think the Blues will depend on a guy like Vrana? They have some scoring. They don't have tremendous scoring depth like they had a few years ago. Is Vrana going to be a key part of this offense, you think?
Yeah, I don't think initially, Randy, I don't think they're looking to depend on him. I think, to your point, they're looking for more spread out offense, your power in numbers type thing. Doug Armstrong likes to say death by 1,000 cuts. But watching Vrana on that power play, and we were talking about this yesterday on the Fast Lane, is, all last year we kept trying to find a replacement for David Perron on that one spot where David used to shoot the one-timer from. Well, if you look at the game in Columbus the other night, Vrana is on the opposite side of where David Perron was, but scores a couple of one-timer type goals. If this guy can deliver like that, and if him and Torrey Krug can find chemistry, like Jacob Vrana might be the missing piece to how you really score a lot of goals, how this team gets to the next level, how Jacob Vrana himself gets to be that 35, 40 goal scorer. Because, man, he can shoot the puck, and with all the skill that he has, he's going to get a lot of opportunity to play out there. And Craig Berube knows this power play has to be better. It has to be a top 10, I've been saying top 8 power play in the NHL this year. And if Jacob Vrana can help them do that, he sees a lot more time on the power play, means a lot more opportunity to score goals, too.
Well, Jamie, we're going to be talking about this later in the show at 9:15, but I wanted to get your take on this. The Athletic, they put out a recent article ranking the top 6 center pairings, and they had the Blues with Robert Thomas and Braden Shen kind of coming in towards the bottom of their listing. What do you think about that?
Well, let me tell you what I think about some of the Athletic's rankings, Brooke. I don't think... Here's what the Athletic, they do a fantastic job. And our guy, Jeremy Rutherford, we know he does amazing work over at the Athletic. When they do these ranking polls, it never seems to be accurate, in my opinion. And not just because they're Blues players that don't get ranked the right way or they don't like the Blues team overall, is they select a bunch of numbers and they plug them in, and that's just the equation. It's like, okay, well, this is the numbers here, and that's where they rank. I'm of a different belief that when you look at players like Robert Thomas and Braden Shen, these guys, they can hurt you in multiple ways. Braden Shen had over 60 points last year as a guy who played most of the season injured and on a team that wasn't very good. So I think that's pretty impressive. And if you want to talk impressive, Robert Thomas has had 2 years in a row putting up pretty good numbers. And come playoff time, I would like to match them up against a lot of different teams top guys. Now, I'm not saying they're the best guys in the league. I'm not even saying they're the best tandem in the Western Conference. But I do believe they rank a lot higher than what the Athletic currently has them at. But you know what the beauty of that is that Braden Shen and Robert Thomas and the rest of the Blues team, they can go out and show everybody exactly what they think of their rankings with their play this season.
Jamie, we've talked a lot about the forwards. We've talked about Robert Thomas and Kyrou, Braden Shen becoming captain, Jacob Verana. We haven't talked much about Pavel Buchnevich, who I think did a lot for this team last year, had 67 points. What do you see for him in this 23-24 season?
I really see a breakout season for Pavel Buchnevich. I mean, I think he's the best player on the team all around. I really do. Watching him play, sometimes he kind of flies under the radar because he's not as flashy as other guys are. When you're talking about a full, well-rounded game, defensively he's solid. He can play physical out there. He can put up points. He can run your power play. He plays on the penalty kill. He's a big body. He can control the puck down low. I think this is a big season for Pavel Buchnevich. He has to stay healthy. That's the one thing that last year he kind of got sidetracked with some health issues, but he still ended up with more than a point a game. If he stays healthy and plays all 82 games, I could easily see Pavel Buchnevich being in that 90 to 95 point range, which makes him a pretty elite player.
Ribs, one other thing. Has anybody shown themselves to be a surprise in this camp or in the games? Not that they might make it on opening day, but maybe get themselves in a position to be the first guy called up. Anybody that we aren't really paying attention to that's caught your eye?
You know, there were a lot of guys early on that kind of caught your eye. I think that as preseason kind of works its way through, it's amazing how it works that the regular guys seem to take control of their positions more often than not. And the one thing with this Blues team right now is they have some great youth coming up. Zach Dean, Zachary Bolduc, players like that. They are the future of this team. Are they the right now for this team? I just don't see it. And I think for me the biggest surprise, honestly, is, and I don't want to say spin this negatively, but we talked about it yesterday. The biggest surprise for me is some of the bubble players, some of the fringe guys, haven't really reached up and grabbed the opportunity. You know, there are some spots available on this team, and we know it's not going to be in the top 6. It may not even be in the top 9. But if you're a guy that wants to play in the NHL and play on the fourth line, you should probably go out there and earn it. And so for me, I'm interested to see in the next couple games here in preseason which one of those bubble guys, those fringe guys, separates themselves from the pack and makes it known that, hey, they're going to be in the NHL this year. It's up to everybody else to figure out who's going to be the healthy scratch or the guy that goes through waivers sent to the minors.
All right, last thing. I promise this is the last thing. I want Craig Berube, what he said, what he means, okay? He said of Carey's guy, Calle Rosen, his camp has been fine. Last year is last year. This year is this year. Every spot has to be earned. That's got to play itself out. That's what he said. What did he mean about Calle Rosen?
Well, what he means is we've got 8 guys under one-way contracts. Calle Rosen's on a 2-way contract, and he needs to separate himself from those other one-way contracts in order to stay here this year, or he might get waived and sent to the minors.
And so when he says his camp has been fine, not great, just fine, right?
It means he hasn't separated himself.
Yeah, not stepping out. That's exactly what that means. It means he's done enough, but not enough. He's showing good, but not good enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ribs, you're the man.
Exactly.
We appreciate it.
All right, you got it, guys. Have a great day.
We'll hear you later. Take care. Jaime Rivers, our Blues analyst for Bally Sports and our co-host for the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Kind of a bummer about Calle, who had a really good year, but last year is last year.
Here's the thing. You have an opportunity every year to separate yourself from others. The frustrating part for players is when they really do outplay people and don't get the opportunity. But if you don't outplay anybody, you can't expect anything from that.
And you can't count on what you did last year.
No, not at all.
It's all new year.
Yep.
Every day's a new day in the fight.
Yeah, it is.
Do we need a fighter?
New day.
You never know. As Nick Saban says, every fight takes on a life of its own. Every question takes on a life of its own. Sometimes every answer takes on a life of its own. Sometimes during the commercial break before the fight, the question doesn't change and the answer does. It has happened.
Well, even sometimes the questions do change a wee bit.
That's fine.
You never know what to expect.
Text in 314-399-9. The look on Matthew's face is priceless.
He gets so scared. Yes.
314-399-9646. 314-399 Yo-ho with your name and the word fight. Maybe you'll fight me next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We had games won all across Major League Baseball yesterday. The Blue Jays fall to the Twins 3-1. The Twins' first playoff game victory since 2004. The Rangers blank the Rays 4-0. The D-backs over the Brewers 6-3, and the Phillies win game 1 over the Marlins 4-1. You can catch game 2, see if the Phillies are going to clinch for the second year in a row in the wild card tonight on 101 ESPN. It'll be a little bit easier to watch if they do than it was last year, and that's a 6:30 p.m. pregame again right here on 101 ESPN. Also, tonight, St. Louis City SC back in action. They face off against the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's a late game, 9:30 p.m. kickoff. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm just fine. How about you, Kerry?
Doing wonderful. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Oh, of course I am. I'm a Hall of Famer.
You are a Hall of Famer. Oh, well. Let's get to it then. Let's see if you can start this Hall of Fame streak back up.
I would love to.
Longtime backup quarterback and new media member Chase Daniel picked up a Super Bowl win in his career with which team? Is it the Eagles, the Buccaneers, or the Saints?
Chase Daniel. What a great career as a backup. The guy, he's an all-time business Hall of Famer. I believe it was with the Eagles.
Eagles? Final answer?
Yes.
All righty.
Yes.
You cut out there. Go ahead.
Which AL playoff team led the league in batting average, on-base percentage, slug, OPS, and runs? Is it the Rangers, the Rays, or the Blue Jays?
I will go with the Rangers.
All right. 3 managers in baseball history have won the Manager of the Year award 4 times. Buck Showalter, Bobby Cox, and who else? Is it Tony La Russa, Terry Francona, or Dusty Baker?
Tough one. Manager of the Year 4 times. I don't believe Dusty Baker has gotten his due, but he has certainly been. I'll take Dusty Baker.
Final question. There are 3 players in Cardinals franchise history to tally 1,000-plus RBI for the franchise and not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and which longtime Cardinal? Is it Ray Lankford, Kim Boyer, or Willie McGee?
1,000 for the franchise and not in the Hall of Fame. I will go with Ken Boyer.
We will double check our score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Nick, how you feel?
Not great today.
Okay. Well, it happens. It's not always great.
Yeah.
Was there any questions that stumped you?
No, not stumped, but there's a lot of good choices out there, and I wasn't necessarily expecting you guys to pick me for the fight, so, and I'm sure I was totally prepared, but that's all right.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Randy just walked in with his Dr. Pepper Zero sugar.
Dr. Pepper Zero, yeah.
Yeah, which tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper. This is amazing.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing.
Randy, say hello to Nick.
Nick, good morning. How you doing?
I'm just fine, Randy. How about you?
Doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
All right, Randy. You ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Longtime backup quarterback and new media member Chase Daniel picked up a Super Bowl win in his career with which team?
That would have been his second team, actually, because he started with the Redskins, didn't make it out of training camp, and then he went and joined the Saints for the 2. We talked to him at the Super Bowl, our first year here at 101 ESPN. He was with the New Orleans Saints as a backup to Drew Brees when they beat the Colts.
Which AL playoff team led the league in batting average, on-base percentage, slug, OPS, and runs?
They did it almost all year long. I think that would have been the Texas Rangers. Pretty good offense. Pretty good middle of the lineup hitter in Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, but
where did he come from?
Just pitching those just terrible, Randy.
Well,
at least they tried to get pitchers, right? They had DeGrom, they had Scherzer, they had the good grade John. They had.
Oh my God!
No, that's not true. He's not that good.
How about Jordan?
Jordan Montgomery, pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Monty.
Scherzer, yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good pitching coach.
Mike Maddox, yeah, good pitching coach.
All right.
Kind of a old school manager in Bruce Bochy.
Speaking of managers, 3 managers in baseball history have won Manager of the Year award 4 times. Buck Showalter, Bobby Cox, and who else?
Buck, Bobby, and Tony won it twice here. I think Tony won with the 83 White Sox, one with the A's, and then I think he won twice here. So I will go with Tony La Russa.
Final question. There are 3. I was trying to figure out why you were laughing over there. Okay.
I'll explain it in due time.
Okay. There are 3 players in Cardinals franchise history to tally 1,000-plus RBI for the franchise and not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and which longtime Cardinal?
He should be, and I think it's Ken Boyer. Go with Ken Boyer, number 14, number retired.
Sometimes I like to call Wednesday, which obviously we celebrate on this show as Hump Day. Sometimes I like to call it Bump Day because historically Randy has gotten a fair amount of his very minimal amount of losses on Wednesday. In fact, if you go back and look at it, Wednesdays and Fridays are really kind of the only time where we ever actually find a way to get you, Randy. I don't know if it's just the middle of the week and the end of the week. You just got the weekend on the mind.
Don't put we in there.
We in it because Carrie's part of it. When the average Joe wins, Carrie wins.
This is true.
Thank you. Okay, don't argue with me on that one.
Yeah, but we're not writing these gotcha questions.
How dare you? How dare you?
And then hope I get to say gotcha.
Slanderous, libelous, and erroneous. So, was today another bumpy day on Hump Day, or does Randy Carricker keep on rolling through this week? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
I'm sorry, Nick. You heard Mr. Buck there, and that means Randy Carricker got all 4 correct. He beat you 4-2 today on the fight.
Well, thanks for having me on. Randy, I still owe you a round of golf from the last time I was on.
I'm ready. You got my email. It's randy@101ESPN.com.
All right, Randy, I'll hit you up.
All right, sounds good, Nick. Thank you.
There it is. Let's go through the rest of those 5 questions. Longtime backup quarterback, new media member Chase Daniel picked up a Super Bowl win across his career, and that was with the New Orleans Saints. By the way, a little piece of trivia that I didn't think people would really know, so I didn't throw it in the fight, but I wanted to. The first quarterback to throw Travis Kelce a touchdown pass, Chase Daniel.
How about that?
I thought it'd be
How about that?
If there was a third backup quarterback from Mizzou running around, I 100% would have been which Missouri backup quarterback threw Travis Kelce's first touchdown pass. But I was like, Chase, Blaine. I'm like, I can't think of a third one. So no question,
has a
it
chance,
dies.
Right?
It dies.
He's still the backup.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, Blaine. Oh, I could have done Drew Lock.
Oh.
The timing didn't work out.
Yeah.
I could have done Drew Lock, though. You're 100% right. Which AL playoff team led the league in batting average, OBP, slug, OPS, and runs? It was, in fact, the Rangers. Do you know who was in number 2 in all 5 of those categories? The team they blanked yesterday, 4-0. The Tampa Bay Rays were second in all of those categories behind the Rangers. 3 managers in baseball history have won the Manager of the Year award 4 times. Buck Showalter, Bobby Cox, and happy 79th birthday to the other guy to win 4, Tony La Russa. Happy 79th birthday to TLR. By the way, interesting fact, all 3 of those managers won 3 in one league and 1 in another league.
And Buck, if I'm not mistaken, won 4 with 4 teams, right? He won with the Yankees, Diamondbacks, Rangers, and Mets, I believe.
Yes, you're 100% correct. You got all of them. And there are 3 players in Cardinals history to tally 1,000-plus RBI for the franchise and not be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina will most likely change that. But Ken Boyer has 1,001 RBI for the Cardinals for his career, and somehow, shocking every time I see it, Ken Boyer not in the Hall of Fame. So a 4-2 win for Randy Carricker today in the fight.
People think that this is casting aspersions on the career of Ron Santo. It's not. It's actually a compliment to Ron Santo, who's in the Hall of Fame. If Ron Santo's in the Hall of Fame, Ken Boyer should be in the Hall of Fame because they're essentially the same guy. And I think Ron Santo should be in the Hall of Fame, and he is. And I think Ken Boyer should be in the Hall of Fame, and he is not. And I would guess there's probably not a Veterans Committee that's going to put Ken Boyer in. Ken Boyer has an MVP, World Series MVP, the 1,000 RBIs. A lot of good things about Ken Boyer's career. And apparently a universally liked gentleman, too. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
Coming up on 101 ESPN, we're talking about the Cardinals and Blues futures and signing free agents, but how will that be affected by what happens with Bally Sports? That's next on 101 ESPN. If you're a home seller, I have good news for you. The market is still in your favor. However, between the holidays and the last prime time of the year, now is the time to sell your home to receive the most money. Gloria Lou says you can't time the market, but you can sell your home in the months that are statistically the most profitable, and that time is now. You can reach Gloria Lou if you're considering selling your home or if you're planning to sell your home by giving her a call at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And she's going to have solutions for every type of home seller. If you want a fast sale with no hassles, Gloria's 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date, and you always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers and what she calls her cash offer bid box. And she is going to guarantee upfront and in writing that she's going to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed in writing. Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888, on the web at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. One of the big questions in sports over the course of the last year or so has been the bankruptcy of Bally Sports. Diamond Sports is their name, and Bally is the name that was purchased by the Bally Gambling Group. So the name of the company is Diamond Sports. And as we look ahead, there doesn't seem to be much concern about the Cardinals. The Cardinals are highly rated and highly profitable for Bally, and the Cardinals have a long-term contract in place with Bally. The last, or among the last, franchises that Bally will quit paying is going to be the Cardinals. And they have cash. The reason that the Bally is in trouble is because they borrowed a bunch of money, and let's call them Diamond Sports. Diamond Sports bought all of these regional sports networks, RSNs, from Fox Sports. They borrowed a bunch of money to purchase them, and that's where their problem is. It's the debt, and that's why they've gone into bankruptcy. In terms of making money on their sports properties, that's not an issue for them. But the reason that they're in bankruptcy is because of their tremendous debt. Right now, they're involved in bankruptcy. They were supposed to have a hearing yesterday about extending some debt issues. They asked for an extension in the actual hearing. And from what I understand, the folks at Diamond Sports are trying to get deals with Hulu and with YouTube to try to make more money, get more eyes on their products. And if they can do that, then Bally can be a thriving business. But they need to get themselves out of bankruptcy, which was precipitated by the debt that they incurred.
Would a company want to buy into, do a deal with Diamond Sports, knowing that they are already in that much debt, like a Hulu or whatever? I forgot what the other one you said. Would they want to deal with YouTube TV? Would they want to deal with an entity that is already in that much debt?
Here's the thing:
what's going forward?
The debt will be wiped away with bankruptcy. So
yes.
Like the American dream.
It is. Yeah. So yes, it is. So yeah,
that's the key to success.
Hey man, I can spend as much money as I want and just get rid of it whenever I want.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Well,
it's a beautiful
if
thing.
You're a normal person, not a business, then it kind of sticks around with you in a bad way.
Okay. Just
but
making sure.
Even with the businesses, I do think this is really interesting because if you're the Cardinals, of course it will affect things, but they're fine when it comes to revenue and stuff like that. For the NHL teams, I think is where it kind of gets a little scarier, maybe a little bit, because for the NHL teams, do you start to worry about like, okay, well, what if things do crumble apart? What do we do here in this situation? Because if you're an owner, you're already paying for a lot of different things, and the revenue is not as high as Major League Baseball, NFL, all the different kind of stuff. And then to take on having to pay for that, how do they foot the bill for that? And how much does that affect the players?
And is it worth it, first of all, for Bally, Diamond Sports, to stick with hockey? Every hockey game is on ESPN Plus, and yes, the Blues are a great product to have. I don't know if every hockey team is a great product to have relative to what they have to pay, what Bally has to pay for rights fees. So that's one question that you have to answer. And then to your point, Brooke, is it worth it for the teams? If they have to take a little bit of a hit, can they do it? And this will affect the NHL salary.
It will affect the NHL salaries.
If the worst comes to pass, it'll affect the salary cap.
That is that's not going to go over well with the players or the player union. They won't be. That's not something that they will be excited to hear or want to hear about. I guess my question is when and if this does take place, if there is no deal set in place, where do you watch hockey? Because I think that's been one of the main reasons for why hockey has gone in the direction that it's gone. It was so hard to find a few years back where you didn't know what channel are they playing on. It was difficult to find. Now with it being on Bally's, you know exactly where your team is playing. But that's one of the issues that they've had with this league for a while is eyes on the TV. Where can I find it, and how easy is it to consume?
I think there might be the possibility of one of the local channels, 2, 4, 5, 11, 30, taking a look, at least, at having the Blues. And the other thing that the NHL has is access to BAM, which allows them to have a great streaming product. And baseball has been reluctant because MLB wants to own their streaming product. And that's one of the issues that they have is individual teams and Major League Baseball want to have the streaming product, but then so does Bally. And some of the franchises, like the Cardinals, they want to have control of their own streaming rights. But I think with the NHL, they might be more open to having an entity have their streaming rights, which would make it more profitable.
Yeah, and I almost, too, wonder how many teams, like if you're the Cardinals and you know how much they bring in viewership-wise, not only to the games, but also viewership is what really matters here, too, when it comes to some of these big deals coming in and revenue. But if you're the Cardinals, do you look at possibly doing what the Yankees did or even what they have in Boston where you start your own network? And if I'm the Blues, I would be hoping for that, too, because then you can attach yourself to that.
I would think so. Now, the Cardinals did that before, and that was when we had Bud Sports, which we don't have anymore. But the Cardinals were able to build a platform, and I don't even remember what it was called. Some texter will remember the very first platform that the Cardinals were on. It's something Prime. But it was obviously produced by Bud Sports. I don't know where you would go now to produce a product like that, and I don't know how much it would cost, but when you look at what has happened with the Cubs, with Marquee, when you look at the Yes Network, when you look at the Dodgers, even though they haven't been on Spectrum, they've been able to build really profitable platforms. And I would think that that's something with our intensity for sports here in St. Louis that would work.
Yeah, and if you're a hockey team, you would say, yes, please, whatever, help us, help us. Help, yes.
The big... We're going to find out here in the next couple of days whether a judge is going to grant Diamond's 60-day request that would extend their bankruptcy plan until November 29th. And one of the things apparently that they want to do is work out deals with Hulu and with, what was the other one? YouTube.
Yes.
Now, they've also got problems because DirecTV has decided to opt out. They exercised an out in their contract this month that would have let it renegotiate their RSN deals. DirecTV opted not to use that out and will let the contract run its course for another year.
We're in such a weird position right now because you're having this, dramatic change of people cutting the cord, going over to streaming services, but then you still have the people who do still have cable. And so it feels like a lot of these business entities are trying to figure out that fine line, and eventually viewership will probably get to full streaming, but you still have that crossover and people not fully crossing over to streaming just yet or feel comfortable with it.
You know what? I appreciate the fact that people want to save money on their video. Man, I will never want to have pixelation and poor video quality and buffering. That will never be worth it for me to give up the picture quality, the sound quality that I get from having either satellite or cable.
You talked about the Yes Network, and that is the Yankees, the Nets, Liberty. The Cardinals could have something like that.
Cardinals and Blues could get together.
And what about City?
Well, you could have City. Now, City is beholden to Apple, but you could have City programming on
some
there.
Type of workaround where you would have more eyeball, and then it would be easier to access City games as opposed to having to buy Apple TV and do all of the things that you have to do for that.
And what you do is you bring City under your umbrella with coaches shows, with ways to get people to go to Apple. I would think that because you're going to need programming, right? If you're going to have... And I don't know, do you run the thing from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. or if you have the Blues, do you run it from what? Or do you only put games on? I don't know what that looks like, but I would think that City would be a part of that simply because they could provide programming.
Right.
Like this week, we have no Cardinal baseball games and we have the Blues preseason. But tonight and Thursday night, we have hockey, right? Is that 10? Yeah. Tomorrow. Today's the 4th. So tomorrow and Friday night. The other nights, we've got nothing.
You got City tonight.
Right, but City's going to play on Apple. But City programming.
Correct.
So you put City programming and a Blues show and have us do it, and a Cardinal show because we're all really good at, Brooke especially is really good at TV stuff. And you just put together quality programming for those hours that you don't have play-by-play events.
Yeah, it's very interesting because Apple TV, with them and what they're doing with MLS, I think a lot of different other entities are looking at that and seeing, because for that business model, if it's working, and it's not great for broadcasters. If I'm a broadcaster, I'm kind of a little bit worried, especially in regional markets, because the way that they have built things is that it's not individual broadcasters essentially for a lot of these games. It's kind of regional or even national commentators, which takes away some more jobs. But this is the way that a lot of this stuff is going, and it's interesting to watch it unfold. My biggest thing is, if you want to get people fully over to streaming, just let's get rid of all the blackouts. You know, like, I know that there's still some streaming issues with blackouts. If anybody can figure out, and even this is TV or streaming, to get rid of some of the blackouts, I think that would overall help all the products.
And at the end of the day, TV's most profitable vehicles are sports. That's why TV is giving so much money to the NFL. That's why Major League Baseball is getting so much money for their playoffs from TV. That's why the NBA has so much money from regular TV, because it's really the only thing that is guaranteed to work is live sports programming.
Yeah.
And so I'm not worried about the future of that. But it was a move with great foresight that Major League Soccer made, because here's the thing. They weren't getting on with their season running from March to November. They were going to have to go against the NFL from in September, October, November on network TV. And everybody's got the NFL.
Yeah.
They were going to have to go against the NBA in March, April, May, June. And ESPN and Turner, the big boys, they've got sports programming that, as much as we love soccer and as big as it is, it wasn't going to surpass those other sports on regular TV.
I mean, even look at ESPN yesterday. I mean, it was the start of Major League Baseball playoffs, and they talked about it for a minute, and then they went back into NFL talk.
Right. Yeah, there's no, and this is one of the things, you're 100% right. Think about the fall. Think about September, October. Every single night, maybe not Tuesday, but you've got college or pro football, and it's really hard. Well, you have no chance. You have no chance against the NFL or college football. There's a reason that Major League Baseball hides the World Series so that it's not on Saturday nights against. And it's crazy that it's on Sunday nights against the NFL. But TV is going to be here. It's just a matter of what the form looks like. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we've got our rush hour reset, a big day for the Cardinals in the playoffs yesterday. We'll tell you about it next on 101 ESPN.
biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It's 9:05 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. A good day for the Cardinals yesterday. In the playoffs, you had Randy Rosarena with a couple of hits. You had Adolis Garcia with a hit. Tommy Pham.
Scored a run.
You had Donovan Solano. You had the back end of the bullpen was brilliant.
Wonderful watching those guys perform. Jordan Montgomery went 7. You can't ask for a better performance from Cardinals than that.
You could, Brooke, what?
I have some bad news, guys.
What's wrong?
They're all former Cardinals, the guys that you just listed.
Wait, what?
Oh.
They're all former Cardinals.
They weren't playing at Busch Stadium.
The Cardinals are done.
I've seen those guys. When I looked at the names and I saw that Jordan Montgomery, I was like, oh, I'm so glad we got him. He's Montgomery,
fantastic. First of all, did you know that he could go 7 innings?
I did not know that. I didn't know that was possible.
He can. He went 7 shutout innings for the Rangers in a playoff game. He allowed 6 hits, he struck out 5, and didn't walk anybody.
They'll face Jordan Montgomery, who's a much better pitcher in Arlington than he was in St. Louis.
In his last 4 starts, 27 innings, 2 earned runs. A bunch of the Rangers told me this is the best he's ever thrown in his career right now.
And he pulls that one down the left field line, and a diving catch made by Evan Carter. Bunts again and pops it up. Montgomery, a diving catch. What a play. Because if that lands, that's a big problem for the Texas Rangers. The runner goes from first, and Pinto swings and misses. And what a job by Montgomery, the strikeout of Pinto to get out of the inning. He strikes out here, and Montgomery has his second strikeout. They come back-to-back and got Pinto down the second. Margot swings. It's a foul tip. Jordan Montgomery, another strikeout, his third. He struck him out. Off-speed curveball. And he struck him out with an off-speed curve away. What a performance by Jordan Montgomery. One of the most important parts of this Texas Rangers season.
Wow. Jordan Montgomery told the New York Post about his travels over the last year and a half. Yeah, I'm sure the Yankees saw the potential. He said, they might have given up on me, but I think it was the best thing for me to go to the Cardinals and get set up with Mike Maddox. Our pitching philosophies are much closer. He said that Maddox helped him with amping up his four-seam fastball usage, which he used on 26 of his 93 pitches yesterday. And so, evidently, Jordan Montgomery believes that he's better with Mike Maddox as his pitching coach.
It's very interesting when you hear that.
By interesting, do you mean frustrating?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think frustrating is a good way to describe it, because you wish it could have worked out with the Cardinals, and that working out with Maddox. I would still love to know the full story behind Maddox and the Cardinals' whole situation leaving. Was it just kind of a philosophical differences, you think, there?
I think the Cardinals are so ingrained with analytics that they fail to see that old school can work. And not that Mike Maddox is anti-analytics. He's not. When they hired him, it was because he was cutting-edge analytics-wise. Now it appears that they're all in on the analytics of pitching and not as much all in on using different pitches, using your best pitches at certain times. That
was one of the most important or intriguing things when Jordan Montgomery got here last year, that they were talking about his usage of his fastball, how the Yankees didn't have him throwing it as much, and he had thrown it way more here and was having success. And so you would think that if the Yankees didn't have him do it, he got here, had more success, you would just replicate what he does best. This is the one thing about coaching and managing that drives me nuts, is when a coach or a manager has the mindset that I know better and I can put you into a position that you are going to have success in, because no. The best coaches, the best managers put their players in the best position that they are comfortable in to have them succeed. You don't change everything, but you just shift what you do. Maybe you shift your philosophy to make it more accommodating for a player to have success. And if I am telling you, no, I need you to throw this pitch more, Well, Coach, I don't really like throwing that pitch. I don't have as much success throwing that pitch. I don't feel as confident or as comfortable throwing that pitch. Yeah, but this is what it calls for. Yeah, but you can tell me, but it's not going to matter if I don't feel confident throwing that. Yeah, but just trust me. No, I got to throw it. If I don't trust it, it's not going to work.
Got to have conviction.
You got to have guys that allow your players to be who they are, and then you'll have more success.
And that's the big key there. That's what we were talking about yesterday with Waka and Snyder and how he was able to tailor things. I want to go back to that quote that Jordan Montgomery had about the Yankees. Can you read that again?
Yes, I can.
Because I think that there's something that I find kind of just fascinating with this whole Yankees situation, because as we're looking at Sonny Gray and you look at how he performed with the Yankees, it was not great. And I know there was some turmoil with Sonny Gray and the Yankees.
Usage of his stuff, yeah.
Usage of his stuff. So it's interesting when you read that quote from Jordan Montgomery. What do you say about the Yankees?
Yeah, I'm sure the Yankees saw the potential. They might have given up on me, but I think it was the best thing for me to get to the Cardinals and get set up with Mike Maddox. Our pitching philosophies are much closer, and Montgomery credited Maddox with amping up the four-seamer.
And then if you look back at what Sonny Gray what he said during his time with the Yankees, he talked about how much they love sliders and how they really pushed this specific pitch on him, even though it was not something that was good for him. And that led to his almost, 5 ERA? I think it was in 2018, I believe. It was not good what his performance was. I think it's interesting because if you're looking at the Yankees and that whole situation, you hear what Jordan Montgomery says, you hear what Sonny Gray says, and they have success when they go elsewhere. Do you think that that should be a warning for not just the Cardinals, but other organizations of you shouldn't pitch or throw out there a specific pitching philosophy to your players, that it should be more tailored specifically to them, especially when you see that?
Especially to what Kerry just said. You have to, when you're on the mound, never pitched before, but I've had enough pitchers tell me, you have to have conviction in the pitch that you're throwing. And that's why Yadi was so great, because pitchers had implicit trust in his ability to know the right pitch to call. And a lot of guys said they never shook Yadi off, which was probably the smart thing to do. And if you have trust in your catcher and you have conviction in what he's calling, then you're great. Or some of the veteran guys will call their own games essentially and only throw the pitches that they have the most confidence in.
It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me to throw the pitch that I feel comfortable in or have conviction in. Doesn't make sense no matter what the situation is. You don't throw something that you don't believe in, and no matter what. And I think that's what Yadi did. I think he understood his pitchers. It's the person-to-person relationship. It's not always about the numbers and that specific person that's at bat. What does my guy feel comfortable throwing? Because I may want to feel like this pitch is good, but he doesn't feel that good.
And look at the Cardinals with Jake Woodford, who we don't know how good he is, but the Cardinals keep saying, well, his slider isn't good enough, his slider isn't good enough, his slider isn't good enough, and they keep making him work on his slider, but then when he's able to just go out and pitch, he winds up being reasonably effective at times. Maybe they want him to throw something that he's not, either the type of pitch, talking about slider, curve, whatever the breaking ball might be, the secondary pitch, or maybe it's the way that he's throwing a particular pitch like the slider that he's just not comfortable with. I don't know that to be the case, but at the end of the day, if a guy makes it to the major leagues, it seems like you should allow him to utilize what got him to the major leagues.
And work on maybe enhancing some of that, whatever works.
So congratulations to Jordan Montgomery, by the way. He made himself a ton of money yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, with those 7 shutout innings. Pretty good. He's a pretty good postseason pitcher.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice to be in the postseason. I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, kind of miss it.
Wow.
That is today's Rush Hour Reset. Coming up, the Blues came in at the bottom of the Athletics' recent rankings of top 6 center pairings. Top teams in the ranking represent almost every playoff team from last season. Is this a sign of the Blues starting this season? That's next. 101 ESPN. I want you to head out to Chesterfield Fence and Deck in Chesterfield Valley if you're looking for an improvement to your home, and check out their amazing showroom. They have beautiful displays of fences and decks and pergolas and sunrooms and screen rooms and patios and more, so you can actually get a look at what you're going to do to improve your home with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They're on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. You can see a ton of what they do with the photos on their website, or you can give them a call at 800-300-4054. If you already know what you want, they'll come out to your house, provide you a free, no-obligation project design, and then as they take measurements and show you their product offerings, they also have a digital photo gallery of completed projects so that you might get an idea of what you might like with a sunroom or a screen room or a patio. It really is amazing what they've done at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. For 55 years, they're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they are a beloved St. Louis company. Been around, like we said, for 55 years. Mention me and get 20% off your next installed outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. 800-300-4054 on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
I'm of a different belief that when you look at players like Robert Thomas and Braden Shen, these guys, they can hurt you in multiple ways. Braden Shen had over 60 points last year as a guy who played most of the season injured and on a team that wasn't very good. So I think that's pretty impressive. And if you want to talk impressive, Robert Thomas has had 2 years in a row putting up pretty good numbers. And come playoff time, I would like to match them up against a lot of different teams' top guys. Now, I'm not saying they're the best guys in the league. I'm not even saying they're the best tandem in the Western Conference. But I do believe they rank a lot higher than what the Athletic currently has them at.
That's our friend Jaime Rivers. He will be heard this afternoon here on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carey, Randy, and the Athletic does have a ranking of the top 6 center duos in the NHL. And the Blues, Robert Thomas and Braden Shen, are listed after teams like the Kraken, Matty Beniers and Yanni Gourde. You've got Ryan Hartman and Joel Eriksson Ek in Minnesota. You've got Tomas Hertl and Logan Couture in San Jose. You've got Dylan Larkin and Andrew Kopp in, and by the way, these are rated as the below average tier. Here's what I'm looking at, guys. And I do appreciate this guy named Harmon Dayal, who did this list at The Athletic. And I appreciate the way he looks at hockey because he's got like a generational duo in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Great players. Awesome players. Generational duo, no doubt about it. Counting up the Stanley Cup rings, 1, 2, 3, 4. No. We've got tier 2 elite, Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier of the Devils, counting up the Stanley Cup ring. High end, Crosby and Malkin. We'll go Crosby and Malkin. Pretty good. Really, really good. A lot of Stanley Cup rings. Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, not counting up the Stanley Cups. No. Vancouver Canucks, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, counting up the Stanley Cups. Buffalo Sabres, Tage Thompson, Dylan Cozens. No. I'm still looking for a pair aside from the Pittsburgh Penguins that has a couple of Stanley Cup rings. Colorado Avalanche, Nathan McKinnon has one. Ryan Johansson, I'm just looking around. No. Alexander Barkov, Sam Bennett with Florida. No. Jack Eichel, Chandler Stevenson. There you go, Vegas. Vegas. There you go with a couple. There you go with a couple. Above average, Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli with Tampa. Really, really good. I have a tendency to lean on winning, and as much as I love McDavid and Draisaitl, I think one of those would do better on another team. I think those two taking up so much money, same with Matthews and Tavares, they take up so much money from their teams that they don't allow their teams to win. To list Braden Shen and Robert Thomas as below average tells me all I need to know about this hockey writer, that he probably needs to go somewhere else. He probably needs to write business. Business for, like, who can he write for? Bloomberg or something.
Oh, no.
He's not considering
Forbes or something like that?
Championships. He's considering
he should consider
what he
championships.
sees.
Considering the talent. I think that's based off of talent, not championships are a team goal, team-oriented thing. These are guys that are, I guess, really good pairings, really good guys at the top of the lineup.
Let's take the team just above the Blues, okay? Seattle Kraken, Matty Beniers and Yannick Gourde, okay? Beniers will develop into a special all-around center because of his skill and his two-way smarts and competitiveness. How do we know that guy is going to develop into a great two-way center?
Because
how do we know that?
Hopium, high on hopium, but not high on hopium for the Blues, because it's also interesting, just to enrage readers a little bit more, if you look at The Athletic, and this is not anything against Jeremy Rutherford because he's not the one that wrote this, but they came out with preseason rankings for NHL teams. What number do you guys think that the Blues check in at out of the 32 teams?
24.
26 is what
26.
The Athletic has them currently ranked at going into preseason
Who wrote
rankings.
that one? Is that the bozo guy?
It said like staff writers, essentially. So it was a group effort of putting the Blues in at 26.
Is it fair to say that the Blues didn't perform particularly well last year? So if you're basing it off of last season, what you saw, you would assume that maybe it's more of the same. They have a lot of the same people back that they had last year after the trade. So I don't know what needs to change. Hopefully is changed in this season that makes them much better than the 26th ranked team in the NHL.
Well, I do think that they did have a significant regression, and everybody says that. Even Army said that, Berube said that. They went from, 109 points or something like that the year before to 81 points last season. Special teams dropped off. Defensively, we saw what they looked like. So there was a lot of different things, which led to you moving on from Ryan O'Reilly, Vladimir Tarasenko. And so in that article that he points out, that was something that he pointed to when he spoke specifically about Robert Thomas and Braden Shen. He said with Thomas, his numbers regressed last year when it came to points. And he said this will be a huge test for Thomas, who's handling first-line center duties for the first full season since Ryan O'Reilly's departure. That's his reasoning, I guess, with Robert Thomas. But why can't we say will develop into a great first-line centerman?
Good question.
Here's an important part of that article. Thomas is a gifted player. He's a better two-way player than numbers give him credit for. The environment in St. Louis is horrible for defensive results. That, in parentheses, it should let you know everything you need to know about what people think about the St. Louis Blues from last season going into this season. What we all saw, it was not good on the defensive end. Jordan Binnington facing shots left and right, which is why I am concerned now that they're giving up 39 shots on goal to the Columbus Blue Jackets. That is a concern for me. I understand maybe you're working on things, but damn it, that should be something you should be working on.
It should be.
Maybe you're working on other things, but that should, on the top of lists of priorities, that should be 1A, if not one by itself, because there was too much last season.
This is a hard question. Would you rather have two great centers or a Stanley Cup championship?
Stanley Cup. I want to win championships.
I want the trophy.
By the way, it's Dom Lucian. Dom Lucian is their guy at The Athletic that thinks that expected goals are more important than real goals.
But it's, because high on hopium, right? You have to be high on hopium.
You gotta have some type of numbers, right? Then what would the analytics people do if they didn't have numbers? Right?
Our expected runs per game for the Cardinals this year, CD?
8.
Yep, they were, and those numbers are as legitimate as anybody else's.
Yeah,
I agree. The only ones that really count are the ones that actually happen.
Yeah,
we didn't get 8 runs.
We didn't. No. But you know what?
We tried.
Our expected runs were as important as Fangraphs expected runs.
We tried.
Well, and here's the thing: even if you did get A+ runs, that still wasn't enough for the Cardinals this season because of the other big issue.
Not if CD-ROM was pitching. 8.02. We liked what we saw. We liked what we saw.
Not great.
They'll give him a chance.
We'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. So, okay, we did Willie Mays, didn't we? We did Hannes Wagner. Okay, well, I can give you something here. Hold on here 1 second. You will really enjoy what we have for CD-ROM. CD-ROM, one of the great players, perhaps one of the great pitchers in the history of the game, right? Do we doubt this? He's left-handed, isn't he?
We need a little bit more... It's small sample size right now, Randy.
Okay. It's very small sample size.
Okay.
Be considered the greatest ever.
Okay, guy that started off in his second season, 2-4 with a 4.91. 2-4 with a 4.91 in his age 20 season.
Who you got?
Sandy Koufax.
Oh no.
Randy.
No.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Sandy Koufax, 29 walks in 58 2/3 innings in his second season. 28 walks in 41 2/3. So, can we give, and I know Steven Matz has it right now, can we just give CD-ROM number 32?
No.
And call him Junior Sandy?
No. No, he's got some work to do. But Mo did say he likes what he saw from him, so,
There you go.
How about that?
How about that? There you go.
So, question, parliamentary procedure here. All three of you have to answer this. Would you rather have CD-ROM or Sandy Koufax? Now, keep in mind, Sandy Koufax is going to turn 88 in December.
What age are we getting Sandy Koufax?
We're talking right now.
Yeah.
Right now?
I'll take Rom.
Probably throws 88.
I don't know. His arm might not get up to that.
Yeah, and he had to retire because of a bad arm.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
We'll go Rom.
Yeah.
So, Matthew? Koufax or Rom?
Listen, I'm kind of like John Mosaic. I was really impressed with what we saw from Rom there at the end of the year.
Somebody said, why are you guys picking Rom?
Well, you're picking on Rom.
Picking on Rom.
Something about like an 80 RA across.
Koufax 6'2", 210, Rom 6'2", 215.
Same,
both left-handed.
Essentially the same guy.
Yep, both left-handed.
6'2", 210 in 1960 versus 6.
I'm not. That's not a part of it. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not considering it.
You're getting
slightly different.
You're doing too much now.
Okay. Now, one of the issues we have here is, and I know this is coming, CD, so I will just get it out of the way right now. Okay.
War.
The age 23 season. CD-ROM. Oh, you know what? It's not too bad. Koufax 8-6 with the 4.05. Rom was 8.02.
Double.
Koufax at age 20. This is why you have to wait with left-handers. Koufax in 1961, age 25 season, 18-13 with a 3.52, led the league with 269 strikeouts. And then 27 season, 25-5 with a 1.88. So
it's pretty good.
Give CD-ROM 4 more years.
Exactly.
And number 32.
History does repeat itself.
It will with your St. Louis Cardinals.
We're waiting.
I don't know how we got there.
Sandy Jr., we're ready for you.
Did we get there with expected runs or something?
Yeah, we got there.
We've got soccer tonight. We've got City at Vancouver. Is it the Whitecaps still?
Yes.
Who is it? Who are they playing?
Van Blanking Couver.
Appreciate it. Just make sure.
The Whitecaps. The white bleeping. The white
the
bleeping
Van
caps.
Blanking Couver white blanking caps.
There you go.
All right.
So we're playing.
Which is probably, thank goodness that team isn't based in Mississippi.
Oh my God!
Randy, tell us it's break. Tell us it's break.
It's break time. Hey, I want you to know about my friends at Hoffman Brothers who do so much for the community. And obviously, you know Hoffman Brothers for helping you out with your heating and cooling and plumbing and electrical and drain systems and things like that. But during the month of October, Hoffman Brothers is partnering with the American Cancer Society to promote breast cancer awareness. This month, if you have a Hoffman Brothers field professional out to your home or business, you'll see them wearing a pink hat and pink shoe covers in support of breast cancer. In 2020, they lost an employee of over 25 years to breast cancer, and whatever Hoffman Brothers can do to help improve the lives of those living with breast cancer through advocacy, through research, through patient support, they'll do. You can support the American Cancer Society by using Hoffman Brothers during the month of October. Hoffman Brothers is an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and you can make your appointment right now to get your furnace checked out. Give them a call, 314-664-3011. 314-664-3011, or find them on the web at hoffmanbros.com, HOFFMANN, hoffmanbros.com. Use Hoffman Brothers during the month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Wildcard games won yesterday. The Twins over the Blue Jays 3-1 for their first playoff game win since 2004. The Rangers, the top offense in the AL, blank the number 2 offense, 4-0 over the Rays. The Brewers fall to the D-backs 6-3, and the Phillies take a 1-0 lead over the Marlins with a 4-1 win. You can catch Game 2 right here on 101 ESPN. Starts at 6:30 p.m. pregame. Also in action, St. Louis City SC faces off against the Vancouver Whitecaps. That game is a late kickoff tonight, 9:30 Central for the St. Louis City versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
One, two, three, four.
You know, we haven't given up as much XG, expected goals against us, in this last stretch as we have in the first sort of segments of the season. So I feel we've become a tighter unit. I feel, you know, obviously the introduction of Joakim Nielsen, you know, getting healthy and getting fit and getting ready, I thought it's helped our case and it's helped the structure and stability of our group. And also the leadership on the field. But, yeah, I've been really comfortable, you know, without talking too much or thinking we're peaking at the wrong time. I think we're getting there slowly. With 2 games to go, I'm really feeling that bar any injuries and knock on wood, I think we're in a good spot.
That is the head coach of St. Louis City SC, Bradley Carnell, with us in the opening drive on 101 ESPN. I would guess that Bradley Carnell's XG and Roman Berkey's XGs are dramatically different. XGs against.
I agree.
Thank you. Yes.
Roman's is settled.
0. Clean sheet.
Every game.
Yeah.
That's what he expects.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's amazing. We're never going to escape that, right? No.
I don't think so. No.
I like that. Just to expect things, just to go out there and say that. I would like to expect a lot of things.
So we had a goalie.
Matter?
Yeah, we had a goalie here named Patrick Lalime after the lockout. Okay, and Patrick Lalime was, to put it kindly, not great. He was just. I feel for the guy. He had been a good goalie at one point in his career, but in his Blues career, let me get to
not great.
Great, no. So let's get to Patrick Lalime. My point being that your expected goals for Patrick Lalime are not going to be the same as they are for Martin Brodeur, are they?
No, probably not.
So Patrick Lalime, in his year with the Blues, 31 games. In a stunning development, he only had a 3.64 goals against.
Not bad. Not terrible.
No, it's actually much better than I thought it was. But how can you have an XG against for two completely different players, right? Martin Brodeur, one of the greatest of all time. Patrick Lalime, not great. So why would you have an XG? Why would you use a mathematical equation to determine
I
that?
have so many questions about analytics. It's absurd.
Is it just the math nerds wanting to get involved in that way? Is that what it is?
I don't want to be rude, but I think... I'm just being honest. So these are men and women that may have not had many opportunities to play the sport that they enjoy, that they love. Rocc is looking at me in a perturbed way. It's fine. I'm being honest here. They are people that didn't get a chance, maybe had a chance or maybe didn't have a chance. I don't know. But they didn't, I would say, excel in said sport. So now they have found ways to crunch numbers together to come up with answers for problems that aren't always the correct answer, in my opinion. Therefore, you shouldn't always listen to them.
Are we wrong here, Matthew?
It's just a little tool to use to see, are you letting up, are you getting chances and not finishing them, or are you getting really lucky with your finishing of chances? That's all it is. It's the same thing in hockey. It's not an analytic.
What was the word you said?
Chances.
No. Getting lucky?
Yeah.
So it's luck involved.
Wayne Gretzky was super lucky.
It's because if you're taking a bunch of very low chance shots and they're all going in, then as a coach you can say, we have to work the ball in safer.
Is there such thing as a low chance shot? If you shoot it, you expect it to go in.
No, there are low chance shots. It's easier to score. No.
So you're telling me
it is mathematical.
Your favorite player,
Jokic,
he shoots a shot and doesn't expect it to go in, no matter how unconventional that shot is.
Yes, because
he expects it to go in.
Do you have a different expectancy for a shot in basketball?
I'm not asking about me.
Hold on a second. Do you expect something different when a ball is shot from 80 feet as opposed to 30 feet?
I shot it, didn't I?
Did you expect something different to happen?
I expected it to go in.
My point here.
Let's go back to Gretzky.
No, let's not go to Gretzky.
100% of the shots that you don't take don't go in.
There you go.
But some of them are easier shots. Some of them are better shots.
An empty net?
No.
It's really easy.
It's easier to score the ball from 5 feet away from the goal than it is from 35 feet away from the ball.
It's not for
there are people that are exceptions, and it's easier for Steph Curry to hit a layup than it is for him to hit a 40-foot three-point shot. He'll even admit that.
Not if your favorite player, Rudy Gobert, is standing there.
Yeah, so City, he's fine.
City last night, as they take on Van Blank Vancouver, they are going to have... they're trying to reduce their XG against, I guess, is what we're saying.
Trying to keep it down.
How do you do that? You got to play better defense?
And your goalie has to step up.
You take away high percentage shots from the team so that Roman Berkey doesn't have to make 3 or 4 saves that make you go, oh my God, he has to win MVP when he does that.
What do we do now? It might seem like not a big game, but when we talked to Bradley Cardinal yesterday, he made it seem like it was, even though he's not going to play his full complement of guys, he doesn't want to have anything less than a great effort in this game, especially because they're going to have some time off. So I'm intrigued to see what we do see tonight in Vancouver.
I agree. Because, I mean, I feel like there's still just, as you're getting ready for the playoffs, just trying to make sure that you have all the options available. You know what you're looking at. And that's why I liked, what was that, like last week where they had, 8 different starters coming out of the game, just seeing what your depth looks like as you get ready for the playoffs. But I do think it's big that João Klaus is getting closer and closer and is better fitness-wise getting ready for the playoffs. It's just making sure that everybody's sound because we haven't had him that much this season. And so making sure that everything is working together going into the playoffs.
I think you do your best to secure the win tonight, play your guys, and if you get up, and then maybe you can start taking the foot off the pedal. But I don't think you go and play this game like you normally would because you're going to have so much time off before the next game of what, week and a half, 2 weeks almost?
Almost 2 full weeks.
Yeah, so you want to have your guys still prepared, ready to roll, and you don't worry about anything else.
I think it's just over 2 weeks because it's the 21st. So it's the 5th. So, I mean, that's 16 days between the two. And so here's the thing. There are some other games to watch. The entire Eastern Conference, by the way, if you want to tune into anything else, you can do a little scoreboard watching. New England Revolution play the Columbus Crew. Philadelphia Union play Atlanta United. Those are 4 of, like, the 5 teams that could possibly get more points than City and potentially take away your home field advantage in the MLS Cup. So there is a little something around there, some points still to be watching. Again, City can get up to 62. It would be nice if you had those, but you don't need them right now. So I expect maybe somebody like Leuven or Blom to not get a full 90 today just because they've played so many minutes across the entire year.
So soccer tonight, and you can see it on Apple. Oh, by the way, we need to clarify something we mentioned earlier in the show, and we really apologize to all of the mafiosos that are tuned in.
This is my fault.
They're not still around, right? Like they're not going to come after us for getting this wrong?
I'm not mentioning names, but according to the Wikipedia, they're...
Did you look at Murderpedia?
I did not, but St. Louis crime family, just look it up on Wikipedia. You can read it for yourself. But Matthew, you discovered something.
I'm sorry, guys. It was the Workman compound from a few decades prior that had the moat, not the Leisure family. That's my fault. I apologize to both the Leisure family and the architects who worked on the Workman family.
Good.
They built a freaking moat. That's pretty impressive.
And here are that is impressive because the one in Shrek was really cool. So you need to get the giant Gingy to provide the bridge across the moat. Right. So here's the scoop. And this is from our friends at KSDK.com. 19 days after Anthony Giordano's death in 1980, gang warfare erupted on I-55 when his ally, Jimmy Michaels, was killed in a car bombing while behind the wheel. So there's one. Law enforcement officers, many of whom were interviewed by KSDK, explained what the investigation into the bombing found. The information that they were able to determine was that Mr. Michaels was removed from the, quote, organization, a.k.a. Mafia. And so they had a little bit of a kerfuffle among Mafia members. Involved in a little bit of car bombing here and there.
A little bit of car bombing? So, I think. Oh, gosh. No. Conflict resolution, I think there's better ways.
I mean, conflict got resolved pretty quickly. I mean, all of a sudden, about a half-mile trek on 55 solved it pretty quick.
Just a little bada boom, bada bing. Hey, a little bada
bing. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
You don't.
I like the cultural appropriation. I don't like that.
If you get on YouTube, then you can see
the appropriation over there. Stay out of that. No, get out of here.
Oh, okay. Whoopsies. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's funny.
No stereotypes on this
bada
show.
Boom, bada bing.
No.
Bomb, bomb.
Gabagool.
No.
Dang, no.
And then another guy, Paul Leisure, who had been Giordano's bodyguard, was injured in another car bombing 11 months later, and he.
Injured?
He survived. Yeah, he was injured, but it was pretty bad.
Is he in witness protection? Bad back.
When that happened?
About a week back.
No!
And then a month after that, September 11th, 1981, a grandson of Jimmy Michaels, who was killed in the car bombing on 55, and a friend were shot as they arrived at a restaurant on LaSalle for lunch. A month after that, another car bomb. George Faheen, a nephew of the late Michaels, was killed. The explosion happened in the parking lot of the Mansion House downtown. So we had some car bombing going on around 1980. But our apologies for our inaccuracies. And speaking of the St. Louis crime families earlier.
Are they still around? Do we need to directly apologize? Because now I'm worried. When you just talked about a lot of car bombings, and now I'm worried.
I am too. No, but we like them.
Okay, yeah.
They were friendly folks. They're all about entrepreneurial
friend to St. Louis businesses.
Right. So, no, I don't like them. They never bombed me, so I like them. Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with Rocc and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Hey, I'm going to make my way over to Mentality this afternoon. Mentality is a place where guys can regain their energy. You know, at the time that we're in our 20s, we have all kinds of energy. We have physical stamina. We can work out and get through a workout or a run or a bike ride. But as we pass our 30th birthday, our physical abilities start to erode because our testosterone level decreases. Well, we can get our testosterone level back when we go to Mentality, especially if you use your body for your job. If you're out working streets, if you're swinging a hammer, if you are an electrician, or if you're just moving around all day, you need that energy that Mentality can provide. They're going to do a complete panel on your blood work and find out where your testosterone level is, and then they'll restore it to the normal level that you had when you were in your 20s. It makes a huge difference. Now, at Mentality, they're going to do great work with you. Their nurses and their doctors are top of the line, and they also are going to work with your insurance company to make your expenses as low as possible. Find out what they do at lowtusa.com and stop by one of their clinics, either in Chesterfield or South County, and get going in getting yourself back to where you want to be physically with Mentality.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've really loved exploring my new home. And thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do just that. I've lived in other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot of congested traffic and made it just harder to get to events like concerts and games. But that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone, taking you right to Busch Stadium, City Park, Enterprise, and more without the hassle of trying to find some parking, waiting around in traffic, or trying to get an Uber. You know how those surge prices are. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try, it's something that I can promise you other places wish they had available. There's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses that create a significant amount of jobs in the region, and of course, it helps many get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Service members, your families, anyone currently on base, you can join the Fast Lane Thursday. That's tomorrow for a special Military Appreciation live broadcast from 2 to 6. It's going to be at the Exchange at Scott Air Force Base, brought to you by Budweiser and Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. It's our Military Appreciation Day with the Fast Lane tomorrow, 2 to 6 at Scott Air Force Base. All right, Matthew, what do you got for us?
Well, we got a text a little bit earlier today that there was some disagreement among the station about Sonny Gray and his spot for the potential spot for the Cardinals and him being a free agent target. So BK and Ferrario were talking yesterday, and BK wanted to dive into his thoughts on Mr. Sonny Gray and had a comment about our thoughts from our show earlier in the day.
301-439-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Guys, Yamamoto would be fine in my opinion, but Sonny Gray can't win in the postseason. Where's this coming from?
What is this? Well, isn't this what Randy said? Randy said he was a choke artist.
Oh, okay.
He had one bad game with the Yankees in the postseason.
His bad game was 3.1 innings with 3 earned runs.
I'll take that over some of the Cardinals' bad games.
He has a 2.95 ERA in the postseason, guys. His problem is his teams haven't made it.
I was going to say, look at the teams he's been on.
And I know what's coming next. Well, clearly, BK, that's because he's not a good starting pitcher. Man, Mike Trout hasn't made the postseason since 2014.
Shohei Ohtani hasn't either.
Exactly. He never made the playoffs. Why would you not want him?
Why would you sign Shohei Ohtani? He's never been in the playoffs. He can't perform.
Well, first of all, I've seen Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani perform in September. Sonny Gray's career ERA in September and October is 4.16. He admitted himself and multiple people around the Yankees said that he couldn't handle the pressure of New York. And you can say, okay, well, he had one bad start. If you think a number one starter is a guy, I'll grant you that in 2013, 10 years ago, his first playoff start, he threw eight great innings. If what you like from a number one guy is 5 innings or 3.1 innings or another 5 innings, cool. That's no problem at all. I am a guy that grew up watching Joaquin Andujar go 7. I watched Chris Carpenter go 7. I watched Danny Cox go 8. I am a guy that likes number 1 starting pitchers like Jordan Montgomery, who gave me 7 for the Rangers yesterday. I'm not a 5 and dive kind of guy, and if that's what you think is great, then that's cool. That we are allowed to have disagreements, but I don't look at Sonny Gray as a front of the rotation playoff pitcher.
In fairness, BK was having a rough day yesterday.
No. Oh, okay, that's on.
We're good. We're on 4.
That's a hard one. You turn it off.
Randy, you didn't have to go in there and rough him up after he said that.
I wasn't going Jack Bauer.
Is that what just happened? That's what it sounds like happened, is that he made that statement about Sonny Gray, and then you just went there with, I'll teach you, BK.
That was impressive.
One of the best thing about sports is that you can have disagreements, and different people like different things. I just place more value on starting pitching than on real high quality, high end starting pitching than many people do. If you want Sonny Gray as your number 1, that's cool. Just don't plan on winning any World Series. And oh, by the way, last time he did start a playoff game was 2017. I think that starting pitching does have something to do with making the playoffs or not.
This was my favorite. This was my favorite part.
Oh, okay.
Disappointment in his voice.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There's a lot of guys that are really good pitchers for April, May, June, July, August. But if you watch enough postseason baseball, and I've seen a lot in my time, you get to the point where you figure out, and if you ask players about it, ask players if the sport is different in September and October.
Oh, no question.
And they'll tell you it's a different sport.
Playoffs are a different animal completely, no matter what sport you're playing. It just, the intensity, every decision feels like it's being scrutinized. You have more eyeballs paying attention because there obviously aren't as many teams playing. So you got more people paying attention. It definitely turns up.
Jason Isringhausen listens to us every morning. He's probably listening right now. He'll text me and say, yeah, it's a different sport.
It is.
It is. If you talk to people that have been through it a million times, like Ricky Horton, you just get Ricky Horton on your show and say, hey, Ricky, is September and October different than April, May, June, July, August? I think Ricky will tell you. If you ask Jim Edmonds, there's a reason that Jim Edmonds is all over the Cardinal postseason books because his heartbeat didn't rise.
Yeah.
Some guys' heartbeats just don't rise. And those are the kind of guys that I want on my team.
What about Kershaw?
So it's really interesting. Clayton Kershaw, even though the numbers would belie this, there's a reason that there's one of the great memes in the history of sports where you've got the Clayton Kershaw action figure and it's circled where it says, warning, choking hazard.
Oh, God.
It's a different animal altogether. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Brooke, you sounded like you were having fun.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
CD.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
And again, 2 things. Number 1, happy National Taco Day.
Oh, no.
And number 2, Mafia members here in St. Louis. We love you.
Yeah, we love you.
You're
still around.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love the Mafia. We love Italian restaurants. All of us love Italian restaurants.
And I don't even have a car. I take Metro everywhere. So you can't even do anything.
That's the play. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great hump day, St. Louis.